All right, let's go. No, so yeah, it's
You fucking. I don't know if there's like a split second where I went, huh. uh, all right, we're back for a smoke break episode number 3. It's been a while since we did this one.
pouring
Last
a drink right next to my microphone. I hope it's
Yeah.
not picked it up.
Last one we did was for The Suicide Squad that James Gunn made. That
AKA the
was
good one.
yeah. That was well over a year ago at this point. Randomly, by the way, I just saw that lady that was the bad woman in the first Suicide Squad movie, aka the bad one. Um,
I think her name's Empress or Enchantress.
yeah, I randomly said she was like not in trouble or she did something really weird. Oh, she was at the Oscar, or not the Oscars, the Grammys, and people were like, she's on cocaine, and she was like following people around, like flipping their dresses up and shit the whole time.
She was not on cocaine.
Well,
But
that's
yeah,
what people, yeah,
yeah. I mean, I know. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, how do you know she wasn't on cocaine?
I've seen people on cocaine in
Yeah,
movies, and I know that's
in
not.
movies, yeah.
Yeah, she was most likely on like Molly or something.
Some
Like
maybe,
cocaine doesn't make you act like that. You're not like life of the party.
yeah.
You're more
But
like a string out junkie,
but
right?
Rick James once told me that cocaine is a hell of a drug.
It is, but not like that.
Yeah. All right. Well, regardless of that, we're here today to talk about the highly anticipated between me and Tyler, the Northman, directed by Robert Eggers. Robert Eggers' third film. We've covered his previous 2 films. If you recall, The Lighthouse is pretty amazing. And then me and Maverick watched The Witch, and a little slow for my taste. The Witch was, but
The second time, first time it was decent, right?
yeah, the first time I remember liking it, and then the second time I was like, I don't know about this one.
I'm gonna be honest. I think all his films were like that.
I don't know. I've liked The Lighthouse more every time I've watched it. So
Yeah, it is pretty good.
Um, but so we were really looking forward to this one, and we just now got around to watching it. And I'm gonna go ahead and give this one a 9.5, Tyler. It was almost a perfect movie in my opinion, but and I don't know how you feel. I think they went a little long. There was a point in this movie where it was firing on all cylinders, and then they kind of went in one direction, and the next like 15 minutes I didn't. It was just to a screeching halt for me, and that really made me feel the length of the movie was that like 15 minutes. I'll talk about when we get into it. But 9.5, probably my favorite movie of his, and I say that begrudgingly because The Lighthouse is still. The Lighthouse gives it a run for its money, but I remember I gave that movie a 9. But I have liked it more every time I've watched it, so I don't know. But Tyler, what do you think of The Northman?
So I absolutely love this movie, but I hate one part of it, and
I wonder if it's the same part.
it's just a concept thing in my mind.
Yeah.
So I know you gave it a 9.5. I was going to give it a 10, but I don't think it's the perfect movie.
That's why I was like, I wanted to give it a 10, but the 15 minutes I'm talking about, I was like, I can't. It's just not a perfect movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm not going to do the decimals and all that, so I'm just going to give it a 9.
Uh huh.
But this is literally a movie I will actively tell people to watch.
Yeah.
If someone was like, hey, I'm thinking about watching a movie, I'll be like, hey, watch Northman.
Yeah.
Call me in 3 hours, like,
Yeah.
even though it's like 2 and some change.
Yeah. You need some time to process it, though.
Yeah, you need to think about this. So
Yeah. I
it
definitely.
has all the elements I love in a movie. It's like action, suspense, supernatural shit.
I will say. So I told you that people that I watch for interviews and stuff have watched it and said that they liked it, but they said it was like that guy's most normal movie. Um, and after watching it, I mean it's pretty fucking weird.
It's pretty out there. Yeah, I
But
remember you told me that when we were getting. Well, we planned this stuff, guys, to watch
yeah,
these movies, blah blah blah. And he told me that, and I was like,
yeah,
15 minutes in, I was like, your friends are idiots.
yeah. The
Like,
15 minutes in, yeah, you're like okay, but I would still maybe agree with them. But then on the other hand, I don't know if the witch was all that weird. Thinking back on it, because the witch was just sort of, you know, the witch didn't seem. The witch gets weird near the end with Black the goat and all this stuff. But like before, I would say maybe the witch is his most normal movie.
I'm gonna be honest. Like, the lighthouse isn't that weird
I don't know, man. I mean, he does
towards the end.
fuck a mermaid.
Yeah, like, but that's like the last 20 minutes of the thing. It's
No,
crazy.
that's really early on. Because I remember being like, "What?" There's that also the part where like he's watching Willem Dafoe up in the lighthouse, and then there's a bunch of tentacles, and then Willem Dafoe like jizzes on him or something. like,
But yeah, but like, that's, don't get me wrong, that's weird, right? But it's not like, I don't know.
I
Like I
don't know.
said,
This movie's pretty
I
weird though.
yeah, I think this is the weirdest film.
Yeah,
So, but this is me. Just it's why everyone has their own little favorites, right? So,
I don't know. Yeah, I don't think I could say this is because the first 15 minutes is pretty weird, and then uh, there's like a part about halfway through the movie that I is kind of weird. But
I mean,
besides that, I mean, it's
are you
kind of
saying
just.
weird stuff that's legitimately weird? Or are you saying weird stuff
Well,
that?
I'm thinking about when he goes into the hill to get that sword from that mummy thing that we'll get into.
Well, I mean, I'm saying, like, so. I gotta preface this.
Okay.
This whole, well, I guess this whole podcast, whatever. So it was widely believed that the Vikings, in order to get ready for war and battles and
Uh
stuff
huh.
like that, took a ton of hallucinogenic drugs.
Yeah.
So what you're seeing is him on those.
No. Yeah.
Like, so a lot of this stuff, especially in like their shamanistic rituals and stuff
Uh
like
huh.
that. So, like, I'm sorry, guys. I know this is boring. It's educational shit, but it's like it. That stuff's weird, but it's literally stuff that these guys would go through, and I think they do. The nighttime campfire thing that happens later that we'll
Yeah.
get to. I thought was a great display of what it's like to be on them and everything. So it's I don't know. Like, there is some spiritual shit. It's a magic-y. I don't know how to say these things, but
Yeah.
like,
There's some stuff. All right. Well, hey, spoiler warning for
oh, we should have done that a long time
for well,
ago.
we haven't really spoiled it, but spoiler warning for the Northman. We're gonna ruin everything about it, so you've been warned. There's that stuff with like Valkyrie or whatever, like flying towards the moon and shit.
Well, when you
That
dive, the Valkyrie takes you to
yeah,
Valhalla, or they call it in the Valhalla,
but
not even
she
Valhalla.
pops up
But
a couple times in this movie, and I could not care less about the whole Valkyrie, you know, which I get. It's like going to, but yeah, there's one when they're raiding that village in the beginning, basically. She's like riding through the middle of town, and and I was like, well, hey, that's that lady, and then they never like acknowledge it, so I almost wonder if it was like like a hallucinate, like that
it
guy had
was, it
visioned
was.
that.
She was coming to take the strong warriors who
Mm-hmm.
had died in battle to Valhalla.
Yeah.
It bugged me too.
Yeah, it was just, yeah, I don't know. Also, it does. I even read a thing about it where at the end when she's like or whatever, it does look like she's wearing braces, but it's
Yeah,
like carvings on her teeth is what it is, and it's
I
like
thought it ruined that scene. The
yeah,
fact she had braces.
yeah, but no, it's like teeth carvings that are apparently a thing, but it totally looks like braces. It didn't come across very good.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Also, blew my mind when this movie started. Universal movie, not A24. This is a universe. This is like big studio. And I was like, oh shit, Robert Eggers is moving up. And then I looked up the budget and how much this movie made, and I don't think he'll be doing any more Universal.
Really? Well, you got to
Yeah.
understand that this movie came out like now,
Uh huh.
recent, so there's not going to be that many theaters. So
There's a lot of theaters. I think all theaters are open right now. Now,
yeah, but it's
people still
still
might not want to go,
yeah.
but yeah, I mean, the budget for this movie, it's in the ballpark of 70 to 90 million dollars. It made 64 million dollars. So even on the smallest estimated budget, they lost 6 mil. But
The crazy thing is, you might be right
uh huh,
that they won't be making many more of these, whatever.
yeah,
That being said, that's the fucking shame now because this movie was great.
yeah,
Like, and it doesn't always have to be a fucking Marvel flick, you know? Sometimes you can have all these films are like that though, right? Like, what, did The Lighthouse make a ton of money?
um, I don't remember. I
Because
can't imagine.
find me 10 people that aren't in our little circle of people who've seen The Lighthouse.
Yeah.
Good fucking luck. Like, and again, great movie.
Uh huh.
Half the reason that movie's good is because Twilight fans are like, Robert Pattinson? Oh boy.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Lighthouse had a budget of 11 million, made 18 million. So, yeah, I will say though, I would have to bet that out of the 3 movies he's made so far, this one is probably the most non like The Lighthouse is a very divisive movie where people either love it or they're like, this is stupid. Same thing with The Witch. I feel like this movie is the first one he's made where the majority of people can go, all right, that was pretty good. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like there was enough, like, just normal sort of Viking revenge story stuff in there to,
Well, let's start it off because
right.
I want to talk about it because they use a movie format that I
Yeah.
absolutely fucking hate. But
Yeah.
we'll get into that. Yeah.
Well, the movie starts with, I think it was Willem Dafoe at the beginning. Or it might have been that old dude, the Ancient One, or whatever they call him. But he's, praying to Odin and shit. And he's, talking about a prince who was promised and who will, is destined to fight in a, what is it? It's like a lake of fire.
I thought it was a mountain of fire. I don't know.
I kept thinking they said lake of fire, and there's a part later where they send someone out for a Viking funeral, and I remember being like, "Oh shit, this is gonna be the lake of fire," because and then that ended up not being what it was. but yeah, and so yeah, he's got this prophecy thing he reads off, and then we cut over to 895 AD is the beginning of this movie, where a very young, what's his name? It's like Althine or something.
Yeah, Aleethum or something. There are
Amleth. Yeah.
Mm.
Amleth, who when he's grown up is played by Alexander Skarsgård, not Two-Face from The Dark Knight.
It looks just like him.
It doesn't look like him at
when he
all.
has a haircut. Anyways,
It doesn't.
agree to disagree. I mean, we argued on the phone over this.
We did.
But.
Who I know, and probably the majority of people who know him is from True Blood. Funny enough, I forgot what his last name was. His name in True Blood is Eric Northman. and I was like, oh, that made me where he was a Viking back in and got turned into a vampire and all this shit. But who played Eric Northman in True Blood, and he also was Tarzan in that Tarzan movie a couple years ago with Samuel Jackson and Margot Robbie. Um, so
Oh, and he was Two-Face.
he was not. He's also, I don't know if it's come out yet, but he was in, I think it was a movie. I don't think it was a show, but with Whoopi Goldberg. That was The Stand. Was it The Stand? That they were. It was a Stephen King adaptation. Um, yeah, it was one of those, but he did that recently too. I never saw it. I don't know if it's even come out, but I remember that was happening. But anyway, so a very young, I gotta look up his name again, Amleth. There you go. A very young Amleth is on the walkways of his castle, and he's watching as his dad and his dad's whole crew is arriving back to the castle. Um, where was the dad off to? Did they mention it? I'm
Yeah, he
sure
was
they
just
do,
out
but
pillaging or
just
whatever.
just
Yeah,
pillaging, yeah, just normal stuff. Um,
not normal stuff, but yeah.
the dad rolls in, and it's a motherfucking Ethan Hawke. Shout out Ethan Hawke. I think this is the first movie we've covered that he's on on the podcast.
So about that,
Okay.
two castings that I fucking absolutely hate in this movie. Can you guess which one
Fuck
of them?
you.
I hate
Ethan Hawke was
so much.
amazing in this. No, you don't hate Ethan Hawke. Because what
I
was
hate
that?
Ethan Hawke
What
and I
was
hate
that?
Nicole Kidman. Both of them.
What was
I thought
that
she was
bullshit?
horrible.
You kept wanting to watch that Sinister movie forever. That
Still
Ethan
do.
Hawke is the star in.
Yeah, I mean, you can not like an actor and still watch the movie.
Unless it's fucking wonky-eyed. What's his name?
Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah, who you won't watch Rogue One. That's the best Star Wars movie they ever made because that guy's in it for 10 fucking minutes.
Listen, that Steve Buscemi wannabe. He's the fuck off.
Anyway, Ethan Hawke's pulling up. This was given off very Game of Thrones season 1 vibes to me of like Robert Baratheon rolling into the kingdom. He rolls in. He greets his wife. He's like, "Oh, good to see you again, wife," or whatever the fuck he said. And then there's a nice little moment with him and the kid where he's like, "Oh, you've grown. You're too old now to be greeted as a child, but you're never too old for fucking father hugs or whatever." And he picks him up and like twirls him around and hugs him and shit. In the couple minutes that we're in this like opening sequence with this kid, you can tell by how that kid looks at Ethan Hawke and how much that kid idolizes his fucking dad when they're doing it. It really like immediately opens up with, you can tell how much this kid is like, there's nothing wrong with this guy, and he's perfect in every single way, which is funny because this movie does a thing later where there's the one revenge story that's like the main focus of the movie, but at the same time there's kind of two revenge stories going on that I think is supposed to be a twist. But Tyler, was it a twist at all to you? I'm assuming you know what I'm talking about.
No, like,
Yeah, like from the very beginning I was like, well, clearly I know this person is in on it, like,
it's, I don't know. It's weird, but like, I'm me, fan of elevated horror. I have to bring that up
Fuck.
every time. No.
Fuck.
But I always think about this whenever anyone says, because I'm kind of like a naysayer, I guess, or whatever
Mm-hmm.
you want to call like a person who always takes the opposite view of things. Someone's always someone's enemy, right? Like, even if you're the greatest guy ever,
Yeah.
you're the bad guy in someone's story, right? Like,
Yeah.
so everything I watch, I automatically assume everyone's the bad guy,
Uh-huh.
and 1 in 10, I'm right, So
Yeah.
like, yeah, let's keep
There
this on.
I've been going through the Yakuza series, and every game there's always at least probably two people that are on your side who wind up being like a bad guy. And so like the whole game, I'm like, I don't know about this. The last game it ended up being one character I was playing as. Every friend he had ended up being against him, and I was like, geez, they really just went all out this time. They like there wasn't even a guess. Ethan Hawke greets his family. They wander into the big fucking dining room area where they're having like a celebratory party that everyone's come back safe and shit.
Did you call it a dining room area and not a meat hall?
Yeah. It's a nice little dining room area. Um, not fucking Ethan Hawke is sitting up front with his family, and his brother walks in. Who's his brother played by?
I don't know, but
he kept looking like a bootleg Tom Cruise every time I saw him. I couldn't not picture Tom Cruise. So, but I don't know who he was played by. But he walks up and kisses the Ethan Hawke's ring and shit, and he's like, oh, faithful fucking king, and the Ethan Hawke is like, oh, hey, you did real good out here. Let's get him a cup of meat or whatever. And he reaches over to, like, get a new horn. But Nicole Kidman, who is Ethan Hawke's wife, is next to him. And she just offers the brother her own cup. And she's like, here, you can have this one, And that's when, out of nowhere, you hear
This shook me so bad that I even said something about it, knowing that you hadn't watched it yet.
Yeah, you hear Willem Dafoe's voice, and you're like, oh shit, Willem Dafoe. And Willem Dafoe in this movie, in public, I think is trying to portray he's like just a court jester, but secretly he's like a shaman, and like later he's like doing rituals with Ethan Hawke and the son and stuff. But his public appearance is like a jester. And so he says, he's like, oh, the wife, is offering up her cups, but is it for the iron, brought back from the pillages, or is it the hard iron rot, or what? But he slaps his cock. It just grabs a foot and like when you were a little kid and the door stopper, you were bored. You were just flicking it on the side. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. I think this is the second movie now that we've seen Willem Dafoe's dick. And neither one am I positive that it's his real dick, but that's pretty cool. But yeah, Tyler put in Discord, he was like, Willem Dafoe is here, he just slapped his dick. And I was like, what?
And Maverick, who isn't here for some reason, was like, William Dafoe's in the movie? And I was like, that's why you're not here now. That's,
and then he's like, I watched it. I was like, well, shouldn't you have known? But anyway, yeah, and so the brother turns around and he's like, but Ethan Hawke is like, it's just a jest, So they fucking have a good time. We cut to later that night when Ethan Hawke is alone with Nicole Kidman now. And he's wearing this robe, and he goes and walks over to it so his back's to the camera, and he's in front of her. And he takes off the robe. I thought he was just going to be butt-ass naked. But he's not. He was, like, wearing, like, 819 fucking underpants, whatever, they wore back then. But I swear I thought he was just going to, like, disrobe and just, like, dick in her face. But he's here. talking to her, and we see that he's been injured on this last raid, to the point that I'm pretty sure like it's killing him, right? Like he's
Yeah,
dying.
it's a mortal wound. He's
Yeah,
dying, so he's trying to do all this stuff.
yeah, and he's got all this stuff that he needs to do, and his big thing is dying of a wound to him and probably men of this culture is kind of considered like a weak death or a coward's death. So his big obsession, he's like, I must die in battle. I have to die. It's an honor. It's a warrior's death, and then I'll be allowed to ride into Valhalla and all this stuff. And
That was all Vikings, by the way, not just him.
yeah, yeah.
So
And then me, Nicole Kidman's like, you'll get your chance. And as soon as she said that, I was like, evil. um, and so she stands up and she's like, you've been away from your wife for a season. Let me take you to our bed. And he's like, no, I have to, I have stuff to attend to or whatever. So he leaves her. He goes and gets his son and takes them to this big ass like temple where these people are up top and there's a fire going. They're banging on drums and shit. But they're not concerned about that. There's a ladder over in the corner that leads down to underneath the temple. And they go down the ladder. And Willem Dafoe is here. And he's wearing the Riddler's mask from this new Batman movie. And
it looked like the mask from the movie Mask, right?
At first, yeah. At first, it looked like the Riddler, and then later, when he's down there with him, it looked like the mask before you put it on and it animates. Yeah. But I heard a noise. What? I don't know.
You want to go investigate?
No, it sounded like a phone got an alert, but I don't know if someone's phone out there got or what happened. But
slide into your mom's DMs.
Yeah, they're down here, and Willem Dafoe's got a fire going, and he makes Ethan Hawke and them like get down and kneel to them, and then he starts having them act like dogs and shit, and he like puts down bowls of some type of gross looking food, which I assume has some type of hallucinogen in it because of what happens in a second. But he makes them eat it all, and then he's like, prove to me that you're not a dog. And so Ethan Hawke like just lets out this big burp and shit. And then he goes over to the kid and he's like, and you prove to me you're not. And the kid farts. And I don't know what it is with Robert Eggers and farts in his movies, but see, the guy loves them apparently, or maybe it's just when Willem Dafoe is involved, because dude was farting all over the lighthouse, and then this
right in dude's face and everything.
Yeah, and he farts, and then like Willem Dafoe starts going on this whole speech, and it makes it look like the room fills up with that kid's fart cloud. You know what I mean? Like it was this like green tinted, like, And so this room fills up with smoke. It keeps panning across from like Willem Dafoe's face. He has this real weird, wild haircut in this movie where it's like gone all the way up top, but it's on the like the sides, like an old school Hulk Hogan haircut where it's just gone in the top and down in here, and it'll pan to Ethan Hawke's face and everything. The dad reveals to his son that he's dying, and like his wound is fucking his wound is killing him, but his plan is to die in battle, and he tells his son that if when he's killed in battle, that his son must avenge him or forever live in shame. And the kid starts crying. And then Willem Dafoe comes over and like takes the kid's tear, and he just has like and he's like, this will be the final tear you ever shed in weakness. And then he's like, it shall be given back to you when you need it most. Gonna be honest, this tear thing was one of the weakest parts of the movie.
Really?
Because he takes it, and then later Bjork comes out of nowhere and gives it to him, and then like that's it. It never comes back in any. I was expecting there to be a real heartwarming moment, like later with maybe Anya Taylor-Joy or something, where like he's able to cry again and but he never does. Like the tear didn't, you know.
You must have missed it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
The very end of the movie,
Uh-huh.
when he gets hit and he goes down for a minute,
Yeah.
and he's just like huffing and puffing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that tear comes out, and then that's what makes him stand back up.
No, I didn't see that.
That's what I'm saying. You must have missed it.
Yeah.
But because he's sitting there, he's like and it's
Yeah.
like slowing down or whatever,
Uh-huh.
and then he's like looking like at nobody, right?
Yeah.
And then you see the tear, and it comes, and then that's when he's like But so yeah, it was a pretty major part of the movie, Tom.
How did the tear wind up back in his eye, though? He had it in his pocket.
Fuck you, got me. You got me. I mean, but like, yeah, it was hard to see, but I watch everything differently.
I guess.
It said it in the subtitles. Even it said a single tear rolls down his.
Well, that's fucking cheating.
That's not
Also,
cheating,
it is. Also, why would they need to make a subtitle of that? Like, the subtitles are for deaf people, not blind. The blind people can't fucking read them. So it's like the deaf guy's
Maybe
like, oh.
Maybe it had a sound effect. Like,
yeah. Deaf people, there was a tear.
what are you doing?
So deaf people talk. They can't hear us. It's all right, Tyler. Oh, man, there's like one portion of our audience who's deaf and has the captions. And it's like, hey.
You're going to hell.
We love deaf people here.
One of us doesn't have a problem with them. The other one, I don't know.
So, anyway, all that stuff gets spieled out. And then Ethan Hawke grabs his kid's hand and makes him touch his wound. He might even force him to force his hand in there. I'm not sure, but I think he just makes him touch it. And he's like, I will show you the Tree of Kings or whatever. And then it goes into this where we go inside of Ethan Hawke's chest and we see his heart that's sickly looking, it's wrapped in tree roots, and as it grows we see all the dead kings from the past and shit, and at the top we see Ethan Hawke, and then it goes up and we see the little kid in the oversized helmet and shit holding the sword and stuff. Yeah, that was a cool ass shot. And then it cuts back out and there's these trippy, where then it looks like maybe the kid is levitating, and it goes where it flips, where we see the people up top drumming, and it comes back down to where they're tripping balls and stuff. This whole scene was pretty wild. The next morning, after they're done with, I guess this was an all-night experience for them. The next morning they come up and it's snowing, and they both walk out of the hut, and the little kid looks up and he sticks his tongue out to catch some snowflakes, and then an arrow immediately flies by his face and sticks into Ethan Hawke's shoulder, and it was oh shit. And then Ethan Hawke pulls out his sword to get ready for a fight, but there is no fight because he immediately just gets lit up with I think 3 or 4 arrows. One of them we see is in the side of his neck and shit. So he gets lit up. He tells the little kid, he's like, run, hide, So he goes and hides, and the crew of people who just shot him full of arrows comes riding over with these big spears, and they like spear him from all, so they're like even holding him pinned to his knees on the ground and shit. Uh, and as they have him on the ground, the leader, I guess, of these people comes walking up in the helmet, and he takes his helmet off, and oh, could you guess it, Tyler, that it was the brother who was who was
Lorne, you asshole. That's his name, Florn.
No.
Fljorn.
Because dude keeps calling him. I thought he kept calling him like Führer, which is weird because Nazis and stuff. But yeah, it was something. It was like Florin or Fjord or some shit. But it's his brother here that is orchestrating this assassination. And this is why I say, because you were like, I don't like Ethan Hawke or whatever. Ethan Hawke's monologue here before he gets killed is badass as fuck, and it's one of the best parts of the movie. And I'll fight you in combat, Tyler, if you disagree. But he's like, he's like, your kingdom of lies, and it'll never last. And he's like, you'll be, just this big. I mean, he goes on for like 2 minutes, just this big long monologue, and he's like, strike me now. And the brother is like, all right, and so he like whips out the sword, and it takes him like, he hits him in the side of the neck, but it takes him like 3 shots to decapitate him. And I wrote down in my notes, I went, takes like 3 shots to decapitate him. Wonder if that'll come back later, where someone only needs one slice to decapitate someone. Now later, I'm not sure if it was meant to be like a comparison of the brother who needed 3 to then later when someone does 1. But I did write down there that I think maybe later that'll come back with someone doing 1. The brother is like, all right, find the kid, So they all go looking for the kid. He's sort of sneaking around. And eventually one of the soldiers sees him and jumps on him and has a knife to his throat and does he say I'll make it fast or I'll make it slow? Like, he says one of them.
Because I'll make it slow.
Yeah, which that was like, that's not reassuring,
Yeah, that's worse.
Yeah. And he goes to start, but little kid has a knife hidden away, and he whips it out and fucking slices that dude's nose off, and so his nose is missing. He gets up, he runs further. He's able to like find a blanket on the ground that he sort of wraps around him, and I guess that's enough. No one thinks to look at, everyone's running away real frantic, and then there's this one kid like wrapped in a blanket, and no one thinks to like check him. That it just kind of seems silly to me, but whatever. He hides behind some rubble, and he watches as the brother carries away the mom, or the little kid's mom, like on his shoulder, and it sounds like she's screaming and crying and shit. And he watches this happen. As this happens, the dude that has got his nose cut off runs up and says that he caught the kid, he cut his nose off, but then the kid tried to sail away in this boat or whatever, but the boat sank like rocks or whatever. So this guy lies and tells them that the kid fucking drowned. So the brother's like, cool, no need to go investigate further. Kid must be dead, and all is good. What was I had something I want to say. Oh, also I forgot to mention that the brother who just did. Also, this is like a really gnarly version of the Lion King. This whole, which I guess the Lion King is just a version of like old Greek, like because what's this? This whole thing is a sort of an adaptation on an older fucking mythological story, right?
Well, I mean, Lion King's from an African, like, tall tale or whatever, right? So like,
Yeah,
it's
but you know,
we all have the same stories. It's just depending on where you come
I
from.
get. But I mean, you know, fucking Scar kills Mustafa, or is it Mufasa? Mufasa. Mustafa is New Jack's tag team partner. Mufasa, you know, steals his kingdom. The son leaves. You know, it's a whole thing. Um, Shout out to the Lion King. Great movie.
Well, it's different because like in this one, Mufasa betrays. He kills him, but he doesn't actually kill him. He just doesn't help him up. Does that make sense?
Well, Mufasa fucking knocks his hands off the
Well,
cliff.
Scar knocks
Yeah,
Mufasa's. He's like,
Scar.
Scar,
Yeah,
help me! He goes longer than the king.
brother.
Yeah, but like in this, it'd be like if
And
Scar just
then
bit his head off. Right?
and
It's a little
yeah,
different, but yeah, I got what you're
yeah,
saying. It's all the same story retold and whatever.
yeah. And
If we did the
then
same thing today, it'd be like, yeah, no, you can't have my kidney, Dad. Get
yeah,
fucked.
yeah.
But
And then as Mufasa fell, he did the Darth Vader scream from Episode 3, where no, as he fell down. I waited for
funny
you to.
story. I did the same scream after I left New Hope. So a little Star Wars humor there. So
Yeah, yeah.
well, you didn't get it.
Not a fan of A New Hope, huh?
That's what. Yeah. Well, never mind.
All right. Um. So, fucking, what was that? Did I even get to what I was gonna? That guy has a son. I don't think I ever managed. I went into the Lion King thing. That guy had a son.
But you find out about the son during the meat hall.
Yeah, when he just whips out a baby, he's like,
Uh,
ugh. He's like, look at my son. Um. Also, there's a whole thing here too where Ethan Hawke, when he was dying, was talking about like there'll never be a half breed that rules the kingdom and shit. Was he talking about the brother or the brother's kid?
Let's talk about his brother. So, as you can tell, they look nothing alike.
Yeah,
So I'm guessing there's this other part of this movie
the
that,
brother is like the Jon Snow of this universe.
yeah, pretty much, you're
Yeah,
100% right. But
yeah,
like, they don't focus on the whole slave thing at all for like the first hour of this movie, and then they make it a MacGuffin or whatever, where they just bring it up like it's an important thing, and it's like it's not.
yeah.
Like, eh. Anyways, the more I
Anyways,
think about this movie, the less I like it, and I don't
wow.
like it.
Um, so the kid, we see him get into a boat, a real boat this time, and he's rowing off the coast. And as he's rowing, he keeps repeating, I will avenge you, father. I will save you, mother. I will kill you, Fuhrer, or whatever the fucking dude's name is. And that'll be like his mantra that he keeps repeating throughout the movie.
Ironically enough,
Yeah,
favorite part of the movie for me.
when he's rowing away.
When he's rowing and he was like, I will defend, I don't know why it hit home for me, and it was great, and he was just doing it in cadence with the rowing,
Yeah,
and like the kid look on his face, I was like, man, this guy's going places, like
yeah.
literally in a boat. But
Um, After that, we flash to years later, and there's another little long boat that's sailing on the river. There's a couple of them. And as we zoom into the boat, we see that Amleth is all grown up. Now he's Alexander Skarsgård. He's all beefy, got long hair, long beard, all this shit. Immediately, we're introduced that these people, I guess, aren't very nice people because there's like two fishermen on a boat, and the one guy just whips out a bow and like and kills them both, and he's like, you know.
you say that, but every game we've ever played where you're attacking people or doing anything,
Yeah.
and like, so what's, fucking Modern Warfare.
Okay.
What's that bullshit one that we played for a while? Where you had it was like drug mules and we were there to like take down the drug
Oh,
empire.
it was Tom Clancy Ghost Recon something.
Ubisoft game that would never fucking
Ghost
recognize
Recon
my.
Wildlands. Yeah.
Yeah, like how many times did you shoot someone randomly while you were driving down the street?
Bah.
So it's like you say they're bad people, but it's like,
Yeah.
oh, look at these assholes, they're evil. Instantly, I'm like,
That,
you know?
yeah. That game that Maverick had us download, that I played it with him that one time, and then his computer broke and we haven't played it again. That Blood Hunt game, they have, I know, they have like civilians in the map, and you can't fucking tell. So I'll be on top of a building and I'll be like, "Bah, bah, bah, bah." Oh, that was a regular. That was just a dude living his life, and I just murdered him. I murdered so many civilians in that game.
Evil.
Yeah, evil. Anyway, so they're sailing on this river. Like I said, we see them shoot these, do a drive by on these fishermen. So we're like, all right, what's the deal with these dudes, you know? Um, Wherever they land, it cuts to nighttime where they have a camera set up, and we get one of the best shots in a movie I have seen, I think ever, maybe. Which is the old dude who is like the leader of this group, or he's like maybe a shaman for them, or whatever his title is. But he's wearing this like horned hat, and they have this giant bonfire, and everyone's sort of in a U around the fire, and they're like, the whole thing is like, tonight we lose ourselves to the wolf, and when we'll feast on our enemy's flesh and blood, and we'll come back to ourselves in the morning. And so they're all like howling and snarling, and the old dude goes and just stands in front of the fire, and that shot of him in front with the fire like illuminating him from the front, and everyone in front is one of the best shots I've ever seen, and it was amazing.
Ironically, this is the same part where I messaged you saying, "This shit's pretty weird, bro."
Yeah. And like it zooms into Alexander Skarsgård's face, and he's like slobbering and shit. Like they're really getting, fucking all wolfed up. I gotta tell you, I am surprised no one turned into a werewolf in this movie. I kept waiting for it to happen. There was so much wolf stuff, but to my knowledge,
He does at one point.
oh yeah.
Yeah, like much later on.
Um,
Do you not remember that part? It's really random and really strange.
no.
So, okay. Well,
And then he
let's
wakes
skip
up in
ahead
a
little bit.
zoo, and he's naked in the wolf cage.
Yes. No. But he's sitting there and he's about to kill his betrayer or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And that dog Ricky starts barking at him,
Yeah.
and he's behind the house, and he looks at him,
Yeah, but
and his
that's
whole
not...
face goes wolf. And
Well,
like,
he's just like,
"Arr."
"Arr," yeah.
Well, no, but they like his face morphs,
I
much
don't-
like
I don't
hit
think
movie
it did.
Puppet Master 4.
I just edited that cast, and it just went up. And I like my voice for that guy was, "Hello, Rick." That's not at all how Toulon sounds at all.
It's not. It's like a wise Frenchman.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and I turned him into fucking, I don't even know what.
I didn't know, yeah, but
Yeah. But anyway, after that, it's like the crack of dawn. Yeah? Or no, is it still nighttime? And the moon's just out when they're creeping up on the village.
it's like dawn.
Yeah, which I thought was weird because they talked about tonight we'll feast on, but then they wait till like morning, but whatever. But they're creeping up on this village, and we get the shot that I think for me, Tyler, sold me on this movie in the trailer.
They used it in the trailer, and I feel a little ripped off because
then we knew it was coming this time,
yeah,
where
and, it's
yeah,
so good.
the two like watch outs on like the upper decks or what see them and like shout out, "Oh, blah, 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 blah," people, and the one takes his spear, throws it, and then I thought watching this first time that it was just a random dude. It wasn't Amleth, because when they show them walking up, Amleth is like over here. But what I read is apparently it was him, which it would make sense that it's him. But the way they film it made me think it was a different guy. But Amleth does like a dodge, catches the spear and a rotation and throws it back at the dude and sticks him in the chest. And it was pretty cool to see.
It was amazing.
Yeah, like when I was watching the trailer and that popped up, I was like, holy shit. So yeah, still pretty cool. Kind of wish they would have saved it for the movie, but I guess you got to sell the people, so fucking show this guy catching the spear. So he sticks him with the chest. They start charging the village. They're like shooting arrows at him and shit. Amleth is taking his little hatchet and he's like climbing up the side of the. They made like that forest base that we made that one time with just all the trees they cut down. So he's just climbing the trees. Shout out to the Forest. Forest Part 2 dropping. When does it come out, Tyler? You sent me the.
2022.
That's all the information on it was 2022.
I can just guess that.
Oh, yeah.
August.
Yeah, I can't wait
Sounds
to
about
play
right.
that game and spend 4 hours making a base, and then decide, oh, we never need to come back here again. um,
Stop knocking trees into my shit.
yeah. So, they start attacking. Fucking Amleth is going through. I will say a complaint I have about this movie is besides the final fight scene, I think all the fight scenes in this movie were kind of weak. Instead of going for like the flashy Viking fight sort of scenes, all the fights in this, and by all the fights in this, I mean there's this opening scene, and then later he fights this other thing, and after that, I'm not sure if there's another fight scene before the end. I mean, there's people like dying, but I don't know if I would call it a fight scene. But yeah, all the fight scenes kind of seem weak. They were just kind of like 2 slash things, and they weren't like fast. It was just kind of like slow moving. I don't know. That was just a weird little nitpick I had, But he's just killing people. Fucking eventually there's also another cool shot where it ends up being where Amleth is standing there and an arrow flies by his face and he turns and look, and they never zoom in on the guy, but you can see in the background that there's a guy on a horse with an arrow, and Amleth sees him, and it stays with it the whole time as they get closer, and eventually the guy has to pull out his sword on the horse to try to get him. But Amleth, like, just knocks him off. And then he gets onto him and just starts chewing into his neck like a fucking wolf and shit. It was pretty nasty.
It was great. It showed like the savageness and everything.
Yeah.
And this isn't like normal Hollywood fighting. This is like Braveheart fighting.
Yeah.
Right? To where it was like gory and like you were hearing people scream and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
And then that's it. Fight's over. They won. Apparently, they were attacking these people to gather slaves, but they were also attacking them because apparently this village was filled with Christians, which at this time was still like looked at. Christianity at this time was like Scientology now, where they were like, "What is?"
I mean, let's not get carried away. It's still pretty. I mean,
I don't remember who it was, but they had a thing where they were like, oh, it was Segura, I think, where he was like, he was talking shit about Scientology, and he's like, it's not old, it has to be old for like, you can't just have a new religion. But anyway, yeah, it's now like it's full on morning, and they've won, and they like. You see them, like, taking their pick of the litter, and they're chaining people up. This is that scene I talked about where, like, Valkyrie's rolling through the town, and no one acknowledges it. And it was just, I was like, what that was? Also, I couldn't help but wonder, because there's a guy who walks by Amleth, and he's like, oh, I knew you were good, or whatever. And it looked like Tormund from Game of Thrones, but I don't think it was, and I couldn't help but wonder why wasn't Tormund like one of these guys. Like he would fit in perfect in this movie. Um, yeah, shout out to Tormund Giantsbane. You know.
You want to know why? And I think this is because I'm dumb, but I'm just
Okay.
going to put this out here as a suggestion. There's nothing basing this on fact.
All right.
But there was a famous Viking named Eric the Red
Uh huh.
who had red hair, and I think they're afraid if they put a redhead in this, that people be like, "Look, that's Eric the Red," or they'd read
Yeah,
too much into it.
but I have a feeling that the majority of the people who watch this aren't caught up on Viking lore. You know.
Well,
But
he's like one of the most famous Vikings of all time.
yeah, but Tyler, I gotta tell you, to normal people, I don't famous Vikings. I don't think means that I don't think they're able to. Eric the Red.
You saying that I'm not a normal person?
I'm just,
Why
I ain't gonna say it, but I'm thinking it.
I'm gonna say it. Go ahead, do it. I ain't gonna say it, but I'm thinking it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Did you
Detective
see
season 3?
The True Detective season 4 is gonna
Has like a
be
woman
Jodie
cast.
Foster,
Yeah.
and I was like, are they just gonna redo Silence of the Lambs? But it's just True Detective season 4. But I don't know, man. It's real weird when you watch the other Silence of the Lambs movies that they have that character in it, but it's not Jodie Foster. But they have to try to do the Jodie Foster voice, and it's like this isn't working, guys. like, um. So they're loading all these people up, and we see them take like the weakest kids, or the weakest. The majority looked like kids, but I'm sure there was like adults in there too, like older people. And they force them into this hut, and they just burn the whole fucking thing down, and just burn everyone alive in there. Yeah. Also, in here, we get our first look at Anya Taylor-Joy in the movie, which is like they're taking, I assume, is like her younger brother or something, and she goes over and like offers them like a loaf of bread. And when the guy like comes and she pulls out a knife and like takes a slash at him, and they like knock her away, and she like runs off or whatever. But that was our first look at her. So nighttime, and this is when Alexander Skarsgård just starts walking around this town, and eventually he sees this building with a door open, and like all this smoke is leading out of it. So he's like, "Oh, let me go over there and see what's going on."
He's like in a daze from battle, but it could just be like a drug binge,
Maybe.
right? Like everyone comments that he just has a heart of iron. He doesn't care. He's a killing machine, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And this is just a weird part to where he's just kind of walking through this village that they just murdered and pillaged and everything, and he's just out there kind of trotting around.
Yeah, it's weird. He might have been following the dog, or no, the dog's just in the background. I remember seeing that dog in the background.
The dog's following him.
Yeah. And he follows the smoke inside this hut until he comes across Bjork, who's here, and she turns around, and this bitch don't got no eyes, but she does have these like 3 beads that like hang in front of her to make it kind of look like she has like 3 little eyes and shit.
Pretty creepy.
Yeah, it was pretty creepy looking. But she's here. And Tyler, do you care to talk about what she was saying at all? Well, who also, she's like, "You took my eyes." And it was like, who took her eyes? Did Alexander Skarsgård take her eyes? Like,
everything she was saying is like this weird, like witch, like you couldn't take none of it for granted, but it was all stuff that was going to come true, but it was like dumb stuff.
Yeah.
So without looking it up and saying it verbatim, you can't really pick it apart, but it was like random shit like your horse will fall and then you'll see a mountain.
Yeah.
And then like, fucking he'll fall off his horse, but then he'll see a guy who's big, so he's the mountain. And it's all like,
yeah, she's the one that gives him back his tear, and she's like, "You'll use this tear to sail to the edges of the world where you'll meet the Ancient One, who will give you a sword that and yeah, and so it was a good scene. But I couldn't tell you half of what that bitch was saying, but it was cool. Um, she does tell him, that she does say this. She says that you have to drown your enemy, uh, in the water of fire or something. Which, thinking back to it, doesn't drown anyone in this movie. Don't know why. Uh,
Well, he says it later too about the guy's son. He goes, "I will drown him," blah blah. But like, what that means is like that's not considered dying by the sword. So
yeah,
it's kind of like, say, this is going on a tangent. Sorry, but not sorry. You know how like in like a Christian society, if you kill yourself, you go to hell or
go to
whatever.
hell. Yeah,
So it's like if I took you and instead of me killing you, I made you kill yourself. That's kind of the same type thought of this, you
mm,
know.
yeah,
So like by drowning someone, you're not dying by sword. So then you wouldn't go to
yeah,
Valhalla with the other great warriors or whatever.
yeah. Um, Also, is she the one that said it, or was it Willem Dafoe earlier who gives him the prophecy about he'll have to choose kindness or choose love for his kin, or hate for his enemies, or something?
She said it, I think.
Okay, but yeah, and
But
that's what.
the weird thing is,
Yeah,
and I mean we'll get to it, but the real crazy part is that I feel like William Dafoe, this witch lady, and the old man later are all the same fucking character. They all just
yeah,
represent like Gaia, the Earth, or whatever. Or like
yeah,
it's all the same person. They're just telling them different shit.
yeah,
Like it's crazy. So I don't know. I know that's not really what they want.
yeah,
That's not how it's supposed to be. But
yeah,
you could kind of, if you're explaining it to a friend, you could just say, "Hey, shaman," and
yeah, yeah,
that's just them.
yeah.
So
Um, yeah. So she spews out all this stuff, and then she's like, "All right, now go," and like she does something and he's like, and he looks and then she's just fucking gone. She like vanishes. So shout out to Bjork coming in. That's cool. Gonna fart, guys. It's a Robert Eggers movie, so I'll leave that one in.
what has this
He
become?
would appreciate it. That was for Eggers. um Random soldier then, at the camp later on, that Alexander Skarsgård is talking to, tells him that I was confused here because he was telling him how the people that they're taking for slaves are going to like Iceland or whatever for they've made the brother chieftain of something, right? Chieftain of Iceland, maybe? Is that what his title is?
Yes and no. But yeah, he got kicked out of his lands instead of staying and fighting. He ran like a coward.
Yeah, the
So he,
guy tells him that a king from Norway came and stole the older brother, or the brother who killed Ethan Hawke, stole his kingdom, and so he was talking about how that guy killed his brother for nothing and stuff, and he ran away, and now he's a sheep farmer in Iceland, and this is where these people are going. Um, yeah, and somehow when we get there, the guy's like chieftain of something. So I don't know if the new king made him a chieftain or what happened. But I was confused, and I thought they were saying they were taking these slaves to the new king of Norway. And so I thought that, because then immediately fucking Alexander Skarsgård goes and like brands himself with the brand all the slaves are getting, and cuts his hair and gets like robes that the slaves are wearing, and jumps into the boat to go with them.
yeah,
I thought that he was going to sneak into where the new king was and like be like, "Hey, I'm this," and like work with that guy to like find out where the thing, but it ended up being they were going to um the guy in Iceland. So,
yeah. I mean, they said that they were divvying up the slaves and they had to send back tributes to like their people,
okay.
pretty much, so they don't get raided while they're gone. It's
Yeah.
kind of how it goes. It's like, hey, I'm going to the store. Don't eat my food. If you want, I will bring you food. And it's like, okay, bad deal, you know?
Yeah.
So they were divvying them up and they sent them all. And those are just the ones he happened to get. So,
Okay. Um, Before he did that, by the way, when he hears that and he's like brand himself, a raven like lands on a branch next to him and fucking stares at him, and Alexander Skarsgård stares back at him, and he's like, "Father," and as we know, you know, seabirds and birds carry the lost souls of, you know. So it was,
past sailors, yeah.
yeah, it was cool to see the bird thing back. There's a lot of birds in this movie. A
There's
lot
a
of.
lot of animal, like, I don't even call it symmetry. I don't know what you call it, but
I kept waiting for.
imagery. I don't know.
Yeah, I kept waiting for another. God, what does he even say? An antichrist. The fucking fox.
I don't remember.
And he's like, devour. So he said something crazy, and we were like, what? but but yeah. So this is when then he goes and he jumps on the boat, and he sneaks on to where all these slaves are. When he's there, we see Anya Taylor-Joy there, and they kind of make eye contact. You know,
What's
Anya
your
Taylor.
feeling on this lady?
Now, normal people would think you're asking about her acting ability, but I happen to think that you're asking about her
I'm asking
looks.
about both, honestly. But
Uh, I mean, acting wise, I think I've only seen her. She's all right. She was in The Witch, which is Robert Eggers' first movie, so she's back. Um, I didn't realize it until I think yesterday, but I'm pretty sure that she's the girl from Split, who is the one that's kept in the cage. Who the spoiler for Split skipped like 10 seconds. Who it turns out like her uncle molested her or something, so that's why James McAvoy doesn't kill her.
I don't know if that's her or not. I'm gonna look it up though.
I'm pretty sure it is. Go ahead, tell me, tell me.
I'm looking up. I mean, you can keep going.
Well, no, I have to know.
Yeah, 100%.
Ah, but yeah, I've seen her in those two, and then I know she was in that horror movie that fucking the guy made. Who did Sean Edgar Wright? That Last Night in Soho or whatever. I know she was just in that, but I think I've only ever seen her in those two things, maybe. So she was all right in this movie. I liked her. So there you go.
I liked her so much in this that I went and I watched the worst shit ever, but it
Okay.
was so good.
Yeah.
The Queen's Gambit. She's the main character in it.
Yeah.
And that's her like her acting and stuff. Like I think she's amazingly hot, but I think that's just a given nowadays, right? Like you're not gonna have like an ugly person as an actor or
Wow.
actress.
Disrespect.
That's a person. I didn't leave it to women. I just mean in general. Like name one ugly person who's an actor right now.
Channing Tatum.
Widely perceived as heartthrob, GQ's Man of the Year twice.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm just saying like
Sarah Jessica Parker.
I'm not trying
Can I
to
say?
prove my point. I'm just saying.
Can I say Sarah Jessica Parker over the years looks less like a horse. Yeah, that was the
Well,
big thing. Was like she horse face. As I've gotten older, now when I see her and stuff, I'm like, doesn't really look like a horse. Don't. I could have sworn she looked just like one.
is that cosmetic surgery or is that
I don't know. Well,
just
I have
old
to
age?
go. I would have to go watch an older movie from hers to see, but I don't want to.
That movie I hate that all women love for some reason. Hocus Pocus. She's like one of the witches in that.
But
She's a hot witch actually.
yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, Anya Taylor-Joy, a very unique face, I would say. She has like
think
that.
she's
It's like a little
enchanting.
slim, a little pointy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she got like a hawk face. Like I said, she's great.
yeah.
Her acting's phenomenal, and I think she is amazingly hot. So,
All right.
just not her.
Um,
But anyways,
she's here. And she immediately calls out Alexander Skarsgård. She's like, "You're not the fucking." So she has like this kind of weird accent through this movie. But
She's Russian though. She's like Slovakian or whatever. They call her the Slav the whole movie.
yeah, I don't know if she's from Russia. They did say some, yeah, like you're looking at that
Well,
fucking Polish bitch. Was it Polish?
well, see if so it's hard to explain. Slavic is a person who's from like Russian, Poland, Ukraine area.
Here we go with this fucking nerd again. Go ahead.
But that's it. That's it. Like if you're a Slavic person, you're from that region. So
Um, sorry about that, Dad. uh,
I'm gonna
so,
punch you.
yeah, I was like, this would be pretty funny, but you know,
Just wait for the top 10. I'm gonna shit on everything you love.
you're not,
Oh,
you're
probably
not.
not. Probably
No,
not. I'll
you're
probably agree
gonna
with most of it.
you're gonna shit on number 2. I know that, but
Is this number 2? And that's a poop joke?
yeah.
Like, is that why you man, you're a comedy genius.
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah. So she's like, "You're not the slave," you know. And she like, she points out like something about like his clothes or something, or no, she's just like, "They don't fool me."
Well,
Um,
no, I don't know if we're talking about the same part, but he goes into battle mode and he's like laying low on the deck of the boat.
he's like,
And
they're in this little tent on the boat while it's raining and shit. Yeah, and he's sneaking up on them.
yeah, and she's like, "That's not what a slave would do. You're acting like a warrior, not a slave."
Yeah,
And he was like, "Say what?"
yeah.
And then he stops or whatever. So
Yeah, and immediately he's like, "I love you with everything."
I don't think that's how that happens.
I'm pretty sure that's how it happens.
Like he fights it the whole time. He wants nothing to do
I
with
don't
it.
know if I mean, literally the next morning they're like cuddled up together on the boat. You know?
Well, he saves her from going over the side
Yeah, yeah.
in the
There's
storm,
a big ass
and then just
storm and
knocks the
shit.
fuck out somehow. It doesn't show, does it? You just hear the
No.
like a noise, like a thunk, and then he falls
Yeah,
over.
but yeah, and he hits his head, I guess.
Yeah.
And we see a whole bunch of flashbacks to stuff we've already seen, and then stuff to come, and we see like a flash of Anya Taylor-Joy with her bat, and she's like looking over, you know, and all this shit. And then yeah, they wake up and they're like, and immediately I was like, all right, you two should bone now. It's like, uh, so, luckily though, I guess they made it to Iceland in one piece, kind of. The boat's destroyed, I guess, but they're on the shore, so they're able to like just trek on over to the island. And when they walk up, the guy who is standing on the shore, who's telling everyone, "All right, over this way, hurry the fuck up and shit." He's wearing this helmet, and Alexander Skarsgård eyes him for a minute, and the guy like takes off the helmet as he's walking by, and he ain't got no fucking nose, and it was like, oh shit, that's that
And
guy.
you're like, it's fucking on.
Yeah. Um. So they all get to the. By the way, I have it written down. The shots of scenery in this movie are amazing. Like when they're on the horses and they're on like the grassy bits that have the steam coming out of those little like cracks on the grounds and shit, is like, it's great. Like all the shots of scenery in this movie are amazing. Um, they get to the camp. We cut over to the brother for the first time, or I'm gonna call him the uncle. That makes more sense. To the uncle, who we see him and he's got some gray hair and he's looking a little older. And at first I was like, because the son is grown up next to him and they're like working on this like fence or whatever, and the son
That's
is,
not,
I
that's a
know,
different song.
I know.
But yeah.
And the son is like, why are we, dude, this is slave work. Why are we doing this? And the brother or the uncle has like where he's like, well, you don't know if you'll be spending next year as a king or as a slave, so you best be prepared for both or whatever. And I was like, all right, dropping some knowledge. Yeah,
That's
so
when you're like, this guy's not so bad,
yeah. So at first I was like, Oh yeah, that's the son. And then the guy hears like some commotion, and he looks over, and we see an older guy who's being trained in combat, but he's like not doing good, and so he's like throwing down his sword in frustration and shit. And that was when I realized that, oh yeah, if Alexander Skarsgård looks like that, then it wouldn't make sense at all for that son that was at the dinner to look like. So that's the son at dinner who's now grown up and he's a man. And this son is a new son that he has had with Nicole Kidman, who he's kept around as his wife. And Alexander Skarsgård, of course, is like, well, she's being forced to be here and stuff. So a guard comes, tells him, hey, we got the new slaves. So he comes over to inspect them. And as he's inspecting them, and he's like, oh, I don't like any of these. Sell them immediately. Get rid of them. And I think it's supposed to be like make you think that Amleth like loses his cool. But I think he does this to get the guy's attention, because he immediately just starts like, also, he starts hulking up, and he's like, ah, and he's growling shit, and that's what causes the guy to finally come over and look at him. Are you telling me, by the way, this guy comes around, looks at all these slaves, and goes, none of these are useful. Meanwhile, fucking 6'3" Amleth, who's just yoked up, is standing there, and no one is like, hey, how about this giant guy? Like, he could probably pull a fucking yak or whatever they're doing. Back in the days when you would pull a yak, that was your daily exercise. But so
I agree. It's like a kind of a plot hole, but you have to think, if that guy was given to them, so you wouldn't send like the best slaves to other people, right? You'd keep them for yourself. Yeah. So maybe they thought like he was a dullard.
Maybe, yeah.
To use a lighthouse term. Yeah. You a dullard? So that's the only thing I can think. Because you're right. I mean,
yeah.
This guy was a war machine. And if you couldn't notice that, then he didn't deserve to be chief.
So anyway, the guy walks over, and he's like, maybe this one would be useful, but you better, we'll keep you in check, or you better stay in check.
Hold on.
What's up?
Wait a minute.
Okay.
I just realized something.
Hold on.
They didn't send any of the slaves back.
No, they didn't. That's another thing I was about to get into. Yeah. Yeah, he's like, send them all back. And then as the meeting concludes, he's like, except for all of these. He's like, and he picks out Anya Taylor-Joy to stay, mostly because he wants to, like, bang her. And that's why he picks her out. But the other ones, he's like, pick some, and you can, and everyone in this group basically stays. So, yeah, it's kind of dumb. But yeah, so he's like, you better keep your anger in check and all this shit. And then the oldest son who's standing there comes over, and he's like, yeah, slave or whatever. And Alexander Skarsgård looks up and makes eye contact with him. And the guy's like, and he punches him. But, like, Alexander Skarsgård doesn't even flinch. And I thought they were going to go full-on comedy where the brother was, and, like, hold the hand. But apparently the guy thinks he, like, had some effect on him, because he's like, yeah, never look me in the eye, And then the very next scene they have together, he's like, look at me in the eye.
Yeah. That was the weirdest part. Look at me when I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
So, but anyway. So he keeps them around, even after saying, get rid of all of them. But he keeps them around, and we see them working chores and all this shit. And the first night they're there, the very first night, Alexander Skarsgård goes out to kill him. He's like, all right, I'm going to get this over with, So he sneaks all the way over to where the uncle is, like, hanging out in this little hut. And he starts to stick his hand through this little hole to grab a knife that's on the table. But before he can do that, he hears, like, is it that little fox thing that's like, and like, yeah. And like,
adorable. It was cool.
It was. I think it was full CGI though.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. But he turns and he like looks out He makes eye contact with like this fox, and then he looks up, and there's like this hill house, but it looks like the house is built into the hill. Like it's real weird looking. And when he looks up, he sees his mom, Nicole Kidman, up in the window. Like, I think she's like trying to get the crows to like leave her alone or something up there. She's like shooing them away. And in that moment, he recites his motto again of, I will avenge you, I'll save you, mother, and he realizes that if he kills this guy here now, he won't be able to save his mom, and, he'll just get killed instantly. So he decides that he's going to have to play and plan out a little bit more. So he leaves. He goes about another day doing some chores. And he's like helping this one guy carry in like some rugs or something on like this stick. And they go into the house that the mom is in, and he hears her like humming in the room next to them. So he takes the thing and moves it around so he's in the front leading the stick. And the guy's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And Alexander Skarsgård goes and walks until he gets to a crack in the door where he can see, and he sees Nicole Kidman humming while she's braiding the uncle's hair and shit. And that's the first time he's like, "Hey, wait a minute," But still, he's like, she's just acting, And Nicole Kidman sees him. And she's like, "Someone close the door." I thought there would be more repercussions for a slave spying in on the chief than, his wife. But, I guess not that much. Alexander Skarsgård then meets up with Anya Taylor-Joy. And they're, talking about... Because they've started to co-spire? Is that it?
Conspire.
What? Conspire?
Conspire. Yeah.
Whatever.
Conspiracy, but...
Yeah. They start to plot with each other. About, what they're going to do. And she is working in the kitchen, so she's like, well, I can, have some shrooms and shit. Also, I think I forgot to mention it, but she's a spell speaker, so basically a witch. Which... Hey, look at that. When this movie was coming out, I remember there was theories that, like, the character she's playing was going to be the same character from The Witch that turns into a witch at the end. Spoiler. But I don't think it was, but they were just thinking, like, oh, maybe it's the, same person. The only so they're talking about, what their plans are. As they're talking about this, I look in the background, and I see this lady who's standing there, who's like doing chores, and she'll later pop up again when the uncle comes to visit Anya Taylor-Joy in the night, and he's like, "You better take care of her, or punish her so she knows her place or whatever." When he leaves, I was looking at her, and she doesn't have a single line the whole movie. She's just in the background here and in that scene later, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that's Katie Dickey, who was the mom in The Witch, who was like this real evil, and also Lysa Arryn from Game of Thrones, who was the crazy lady with the moon door and sure enough, that's just her. She's just chilling out in those scenes. So that's a second witch reunion in this movie, which is her in these two scenes. And then later, the dad from The Witch picks Alexander Skarsgård and Anya Taylor-Joy up on a boat. And he's chilling out. So the whole, like, trio from The Witch is here. So shout out to them. But, yeah, Katie Dickey's here. So that's cool.
I mean, there's a lot of recurring people who love this guy's movies.
Yeah.
They just want to be in them, I guess. And,
there's two more people who pop up in this movie. One of them you might have noticed. But another one I don't think you will. But I saw it as soon as she popped up. And I was like, hey, wait a minute, isn't that? And I looked it up and was like, sure enough. And I'll get to that. Keep that in mind. So yeah, so they talk about their plans, and that's basically the end of that scene. Uh, they have a lot of scenes like that where it's just them meeting up in the middle of slave work, like talking about shit. Forgive me if I don't have everything they talked about written down, so I don't know specifically every.
Oh, I dare you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That night, Amleth hears that fox from earlier outside making noise, and so he goes out there, and the fox he follows the fox. Fox leads him all the way to this cave. Where at first I thought it was going to be Willem Dafoe again, but I was like, well, that doesn't make sense because the uncle hated Willem Dafoe. He wanted to kill him that night. So I was like, if anything, Willem Dafoe would be like the first one after they take over that the uncle would go and kill. But it's not Willem Dafoe. It's just this other old dude who is basically Willem Dafoe, but not Willem Dafoe, playing the same character.
Just another shaman. It's
Yeah.
the same guy. Like I said, they're all the same.
Yeah.
It's weird.
And he's like, I'm the shaman or whatever. And then Willem Dafoe kind of is here because he's like, oh, I got a friend. And he pulls off the sheet, and Willem Dafoe's severed head is here. All like rotted kind of looking, but still in better shape than you would think for a head like this. But the guy is like, yeah, as soon as that guy took over, he cut out his tongue and plucked out his eyes before killing him and shit. But he's like, I keep him around, and sometimes I can wake him up for him to talk to me and stuff. And Alexander Skarsgård is like, enough of these games. Tell me what you know. He's like, you know why I'm here. I'm here for the sword that's promised to me and all this shit. So the dude is like, fine, and he cuts out a lock of hair from Willem Dafoe's head and throws it into the fire. And then it sort of like stays there for a minute, and then all of a sudden you hear like, hello, puppy. And it's Willem Dafoe's voice again. And it was like, oh, and it's zooming in on Willem Dafoe's decayed head. And it was great. It was just crazy. And Willem Dafoe is here, and he starts to tell, he's like, what about the sword? And Willem Dafoe's like, oh, yes, I know the sword. It was forged from this and this. And he's like, it can only be drawn at night unless you're at the gates of hell or whatever. And he's like, yes, it's the best sword ever. Its name is Dracula. He like says the name, and I was like, man, that's too many K's and V's in there for me, dude. I don't know what the fuck the sword's name is.
Blood drinker, but okay,
Well, blood drinker, but he goes, or Dracula. Yeah, and so he's like, that's the sword. It can never be dulled. It's, it's light as a feather in its wielder's hand, but it's, like a fucking, I don't remember how he described the slice of it, but it's real sharp. That's the point.
I'm sorry.
Can you imagine if the movie was like, and Willem Dafoe was like, he's real sharp, and it was just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. He's got all this stuff. Just know you can't draw it at night, and it's sharp.
It's sharp. Yeah. Yeah. So then Willem Dafoe, he's done talking, and then the guy pulls out a snake, and he's like, and he throws a snake at him, and the snake turns into a rope. And Alexander Skarsgård used that rope to go up to the top of this hill. And I guess there's just a hole on the top of the hill that he like lowers the rope down into, and he climbs down, and we see this dead king, presumably, clutching the sword in his lap. And so Amleth goes over and like grabs it, and he goes to pull it, but the hands don't let go. He's like, huh? And he looks up, and the fucking dead dude wakes up. And when he was going over there, I was like, oh man, it'd be cool if we got like a zombie king fight. But I was like, that's not gonna happen. Like it was just something I was like, that's not. But then it did happen. I went, oh, zombie king fight. Like it was, And so they start fighting. Fucking, what is this? Oh, never mind. They start fighting, and the dude is basically kind of whooping Amleth's ass. Amleth is like holding his own, but the guy, he's an undead, fucking, and he's just beating the shit out of him. And eventually Amleth like jumps on the wall and goes around to this point where the moonlight is coming through from the hole up top of the hill, and you see the king like stop and he looks at it and he can't go, so he starts to walk around it. But as he does that, Amleth just jumps and like kicks him in the back and forces him to go into the moonlight, and that fucking like freezes him up and he can't move. And so Amleth grabs this big ass axe that was on the ground, this like battle axe, and sticks him in the back with it and forces the guys to his knees. And then he takes the sword and cuts off his head, and he wins. But as he wins, he then like hears something and he looks over, and there's this, because it pans from him looking over to then you see Amleth again at the altar taking the sword. And I was like, is he in a time loop? Like, is he watching it happen again? But I guess, like, I don't even know what, because then, like, he takes the sword and the corpse just crumbles. So it's like, was that all part of, like, a dream, or is he just high again? Like, you know what I mean? That was a weird thing, him like looking over and then he's taking it for real this time or something. I guess you could also be boring and look at it as like maybe he just was like, what if this thing woke up and tried to fight me right now, and he just thought about the fight as he was taking the sword. So he gets the sword. He immediately like goes outside and he goes to bury the sword in like this little hillside dirt area. But as he does that, he hears the uncle coming with a group of his friends, and they're like laughing and talking all this shit. And so he has to like hide around the corner as they're like getting closer. This is when, like Tyler says, they're sitting there, they're like maybe 50 feet away or something, they're talking, and then Alexander Skarsgård starts to hear like a and he looks, and there's a dog standing there that's just growling at him. And the guards and stuff hear it too, and so they come over and they're like, hey, what are you growling at, But so Alexander Skarsgård does his like, and he like growls back at him, and the dog's like, oh shit, wasn't expecting that. And so the dog like stops and he whimpers. And then we do get, I am kind of surprised that this guy did this, because it's such a cliche movie thing where the uncle walks until he's literally like almost at the side of where Amleth is, but then he decides like not to investigate further. He just walks back, which I don't know, how many times do we see that in movies? It just seems kind of cliche at this point, but whatever. Amleth then follows the uncle for the rest of the night, and he follows him to where the uncle goes into where Anya Taylor-Joy is staying. And basically he's here and he's like gonna go rape her in the middle of the night. But when she stands up, she like lifts up her robe, and I guess she's on her period, and she like then just like or doesn't, the guy's like, you think some blood bothers me or whatever, and so then she like just takes period blood in her hand and is like, like just smears it on his face, and he's like, you dirty bitch. Like that's literally like what he said. Maybe what he says, like, you unkept bitch or something like that.
Yeah, unclean whore or something.
Yeah, something. But yeah, she smears him in the face, and I guess that's enough to make dude like stop. And that's when he tells Katie Dickey, who's standing there, like, you punish her, let her know her place or whatever. And so he starts to leave. As he's coming out the door, Amleth is standing there, and he's going to pull out the sword. Like, he's going to kill him right now. And he's going to pull out the sword. But I thought it was great where as he goes to pull it and it doesn't come out, you then hear the rooster, like, like go off to for the telltale sign of like, oh, it's morning, so he can't unsheath the blade, and so he has to like duck around the corner real fast. And once he does that, we get a full scene of like the sun coming up, and so this blade has mythical fucking powers where it can't be unsheathed in the day. So he goes, he like buries the sword, very shallowly, sure, where he just goes to like a stack of hay, and he just takes out like 2 handfuls, and then he like puts the blade, and then like puts it back down. Like I was like, I feel like you should have hid that a little better, but whatever. He meets up with Anya Taylor-Joy the next day. He's like, hey, I saw what happened. You did pretty good fending him off and shit, And she's like, well, did you find what you were looking after? And he's like, yeah, I found that and more. And he tells her that he found, his mom and shit. This is when he says that, she's only acting like she loves him or that she's happy because they have a son together. So to, like, protect the son and shit. But, she's like, okay, so he's like, oh, I still need to, we still need to work some shit out. What is this? Oh, and so after that, I'm in the portion of the movie where I was still taking, like, voice notes. So I have to, like, read it and go, what? Because what I have written down is a plan like this real old violent version of The Cross. Maybe this is what this can be called. So what is written down there is they go to the scene where the oldest son of the uncle comes to Alexander Skarsgård, and he's like, do you know how to fight? And Alexander Skarsgård's like, yeah. This is when he does the, like, look at me in the eye, And so he's like, yeah, I can fight. And so he takes them to this field where they're playing... What sport could you attribute? Because I was saying it's like a real old violent version of lacrosse, but I don't think that's right. But it might be, because isn't lacrosse and they have like the basket pole thing, and they throw the ball to each other?
Yeah, I would say this is more like hockey, though.
Yeah, but the way they, like, because they're carrying the ball, and then they gotta, like, hit it into the pole. Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, it's like field hockey or lacrosse or something. But basically, we say these rules. It basically is just a fight, and then someone will hit a ball into a stick, and that'll count. Because as soon as they start, it just turns. They have these big wooden mallets, and it just turns into this whole violent fight where everyone's getting fucked up. And there's this one big dude on the opposing team who is like beating everyone up.
Did you not realize who that was?
No, until I was like, oh, that was the mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't look that big, did he?
He didn't look that big in this. Yeah, maybe that's why. Yeah, that makes me wonder if, like, when he was in Game of Thrones, if they, like, filmed him so he looked bigger, like, but didn't that guy slim down too?
Yeah, I was gonna say so in the strongman world, which I'm part of. I wouldn't expect you.
So am I.
I'm not seeing evidence of this, but Eddie Hall challenged Bjornsson to a boxing match. So he then lost like 200 pounds.
Okay.
Like, he stopped doing the crazy weightlifting stuff. And he was just going for power and not size. Yeah. So that's why he's small. He's still tall as fuck, though.
Yeah, like, he was real tall, but, like, beefy.
He wasn't as imposing,
Yeah. I saw Dave Bautista recently. I was looking at his Instagram. And I don't know if dude's got to move it, but, like, he's even, like, because he went from being, like, big bulk muscle dude to, like, slim down muscle dude. And now he's just, like, kind of looks fat. Like, yeah,
we'll see.
One of his last posts I looked at is him, like, he's like, I'm fully embracing the fat guy role or whatever, and it's like a picture of him in his underwear in front of a mirror. But anyway, and like his face, he looks all.
When Dave Bautista was in the beginning of wrestling,
Uh-huh.
He was amazing looking.
Okay.
Now, though, he's No, not so much.
Right now, I don't know what it is, but he doesn't look that like 4 years ago when he was slim muscle Batista. He looked really good when he came back for like his last wrestling role against Triple H or whatever. Um, but yeah, now he's put on like I wouldn't even call it muscle. He's just put on more mass.
I'm
Anyway,
uh I'm on his Instagram. I'm not seeing any fat pic. He's still pretty fucking diesel. There's a
what's
picture of him next to Triple H, but I mean Triple H is so big that I understand it not translating. There's
it's
one picture of him laying in bed that makes him look like a fat dude, but that's just because he's laying in bed.
here. I'm sending you the one I saw,
I'm sending you the one I
and
saw.
it's like he's just beefed up and like his face looks chubby.
I think he's just not wearing tight stuff there. But yeah, he does look like he got the old fat head. I mean, I sent you
Yeah.
the same picture like the next day or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
But
Anyway,
so
but the mountain's here. And
they
they're
say your face, that's a sign of a cancer medication. It's the
yeah.
same thing that they Putin has.
Uh-huh.
So, but anyways,
Yeah. Um so they're playing this real violent field hockey type shit. And each time someone scores, when they cut back, you'll notice that like a couple members of the team are gone. Like the numbers start dropping for everyone. And who are they playing? Because they're not playing against like people of their village. They're playing someone else.
it's just a rival tribe or whatever.
Okay, yeah, and so they're like playing for honor and shit. And the youngest son of the uncle and Nicole Kidman is super into it. He's like, when they score, he's like, yeah. And when they're losing, he's like, no, no. Um, and eventually, it comes down to the mountain and Amleth, and they do their little jump ball thing, and then they immediately start fighting. And as they're in the middle of their fight, all of a sudden, that kid comes running down on the field and grabs a fucking thing and a ball and starts running. And he's like, I'm gonna score! And everyone from the stands is yelling like, no, what are you doing? And I remember I was watching it and being like, well, they're yelling, but why are they freaking out? I mean, they own these people, basically. I was like, you ain't gonna. And then the mountain immediately goes over and just trucks the kid down onto the ground. And I was like, oh, okay. And then he gets his mallet and he's like, this'll teach you, you little brat, or something. And he's gonna straight up just go and smash in this kid's head with this mallet. But Alexander Skarsgård jumps onto him and gets him on the ground and just starts going to town. He just keeps punching him and he must headbutt this guy 15, 20 times to the point I'm pretty sure the mountain's dead as fuck at the end of this. Like he's not getting up. And yeah, he like just smashes his head with his own head. And then he gets up and he sort of goes walking off, like into by himself or whatever to calm down as they're like checking on the kid. And then the kid wakes up and he's like, "Did we win?" And it was like and everyone like laughs or whatever. But for me that scene, that he was keeping that kid purely alive because he knew that his mother loved him. And I think the scene before with Anya Taylor-Joy, I think he mentioned, or she's like, well, what about the son? And she's like, well, I'll take him with me if I have to.
If that's what it takes, yeah.
Yeah, and so he was like defending his half brother because he knew that his mother, loved him or whatever. So that night, they're having like a party and this feast and shit. The oldest son comes over to Amleth.
I never knew this guy's name.
I didn't either.
They say it a bunch, but I hated the kid so much.
Yeah. He comes over to Amleth, and he's like, hey... They try to disguise it where they're like, since you helped us win today, but really it's because he saved, that guy's brother's life and the son's and the uncle's son's fucking life and shit. That's why they're giving him this stuff, but they try to disguise it like, well, you helped us win today, so they're like, when we get back, you'll have more freedom, and less, harsh labor, and you can decide other people's labor, and you'll be in charge of that. And if you want to, we'll even let you have a wife. And this is when they're like, even that Slav bitch or whatever that you've been eyeballing. And the guy's like, my father was eyeballing her too, but he decided he didn't want her or something like that. And you're like, huh, yeah, I wonder why. But he does also say, you better not use this against us, and we'll never make you a free man, despite whatever you do. And Amleth is like, oh yeah, thank you, my lord, or whatever. And so the guy walks off, and Amleth immediately goes to, there was a whole thing where they were gonna send off slaves, I think, again. Like, Anya Taylor-Joy was gonna go with them, and she told him to like find a way for her to stay with it and in the kitchen and shit. So so it was kind of like, oh, well, he can keep a wife, so he can kind of keep her around. But he goes into the woods where the slaves and stuff are running around naked, and they're like all boning in the woods.
Like a crazy pagan party thing.
Yeah.
Like, it was great though.
And then he sees like Backturned, and she has the long blonde hair of Anya Taylor-Joy, and he's like, oh, whatever her name is, I don't remember what her name is. And then you see, like, she starts to kneel, and there's a guy there with her, like that, and you start to be like, oh shit, this is gonna go into like she's banging this other dude, and it's gonna be this whole thing. But then you hear like, you found me, and he turns around, and she's like behind him, and he's like, well, were you lost? And she's like, well, not unless you were looking for me, and all this shit. And then we cut over to them fucking in the woods. And it was like, oh, this movie all of a sudden turns in. It has a love story with him and Anya Taylor-Joy in it, which
It's a lovely, lovely love story.
It is a nice little story. I enjoyed it.
I mean, if you meet a woman that helps you kill your enemies and revenge your dead father, I mean, I think most love stories should be based on this.
It's a keeper. It's nice, with the movies we watch, we don't get a lot of nice, like, love story type things going on, I can't really think of any movies we've watched that have a love story. The Lighthouse, Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson, they were fighting it, but they started to make out that one time. That was pretty. Did the Suicide Squad though?
Yeah.
Who?
Harley Quinn and that dictator.
Yeah, but that was I don't know. I kept expecting that she was gonna wind up banging that current General Flag or whatever that dude's name was, but then I won't say what happened to him, but I don't know if she can do that anymore. So they bang, and they're talking to each other, a little pillow talk action. And at the end of it, he's like, tomorrow night, we will start this nightmare. And they looked at, and we see like this big ass mushroom that he's holding in his hand and shit. So the next night, they show who I guess were those two guys who the oldest brother came to Amleth with the last night, and they're like, who his friends. It shows them walking into like their little hut, and they're like partying, and then Amleth follows in after them, and we'll see in the morning just butchers them, because the next morning the oldest son is like throwing a fit. And when the uncle and Nicole Kidman come out, we see them, and it's like, I guess Amleth like chopped up their body, and he's like skewered them onto like this temple outside. Like, it didn't look like they were in one piece when they were up there. It looked like it was a bunch of body parts.
Yeah, it's a jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah. And he's like, all his friends are dead. This is when, randomly, this is the first time she pops up in this movie, but there's this old bitch standing there, and she's like, "Oh, this is this is no mortal wound. This is a vengeful spirit come back from all this shit." Did that lady look familiar to you at all, Tyler?
She looked like the lady from the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That's exactly who it was. I was like, "Is that old lady Sally?" And sure enough, so shout out to this chick from making her second appearance on the podcast now with since she was old lady Sally, which her great performance as old lady Sally in the last Texas Chainsaw.
She was much better in this.
She was much better in this. Maybe that's because her character wasn't a fucking moron like it was in Texas Chainsaw, where you know my name now.
I mean, she was a pretty evil lady in this, though. But
was she? She was just like a religious lady.
She sacrificed that lady on the boat repeatedly.
But that's what they did all the time, though.
Shit, you gave that lady some poison, let her go in her sleep on the boat.
Well, that's what they do. I mean,
no.
That fucking, because they give her that drink, and that drink is supposed to just be like it's drug and it numbs you up and all this shit. I've read about it.
And then after she stabs her in the chest 13 times.
I don't remember that at all. So anyway, yeah, she checks the wound. She's like, it's a hungry spirit come back from the grave and all this shit. And yeah, this is when I found out that these people were like Christians that they took, because the guy's like, well, it wouldn't be their God, or no, he's like, how can you be convinced that these people wouldn't kill them because their God is just a corpse on a pole or something like that, or a corpse on a tree or something. And I was like, oh, goddamn, don't you talk about the Lord like that. So they're like, well, we have to appease this spirit. So the next night, we cut over and they're doing human sacrifices. And they have this chick like with her mouth gagged, and she's tied up and she's laying there. And old lady Sally is like doing this whole sermon. But as they're doing this, all of a sudden, they start hearing all this howling and barking. And we cut over and we see Alexander Skarsgård and that little fox thing. And they're on the side of the hill and they're like howling and barking and all this shit. And somehow, I guess between them doing that and maybe like some spells that Anya Taylor-Joy has used, they cause all of the dogs in the city to go crazy. Also, I guess maybe she could have slipped like some mushrooms in their dog food or something.
Yeah, I mean, they don't really say like how they did it. I mean, you imagine that the fox is the wolf spirit or whatever.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make sense because it's a fox and not a wolf.
Yeah.
But yeah, like all the animals go crazy.
They go crazy. Yeah, the dog from earlier that was growling at Amleth, he starts growling, and it turns out that he's like the uncle and Nicole Kidman's dog or whatever, and he starts growling at them, and he jumps on the uncle, starts biting him and shit, and eventually you have to get like the uncle pulls out the knife and like and he like stabs him or whatever and kills him. And so all these fucking the dogs and shit go crazy. As that's happening, Amleth sneaks in and saves the girl who was tied up, and like takes her away, and he butchers another one of the guards. So when they come in later, they see him all strung up and dead, and old lady Sally is like, I guess the spirit decided,
Old lady Sally was tied up like the girl underneath the sacrifice.
Oh, is that? Yeah. Well, who's like, Nicole Kidman says it, maybe? Yeah. She's like, I guess the spirit decided who she wanted, or who it wanted to kill, So, that happens. Once again, it just goes right into the next night, and now they've given like all the slaves spears and shit, and they're supposed to guard the town at night because it's like, they're like, this is your home too, all this shit. So as they're guarding, they decide to do where the past couple nights it's been Amleth coming out and killing people. But tonight he has to stand, and he can't do that. So they use Anya Taylor-Joy, who's in the kitchens, to put mushrooms in all the soup and all all these people's soup. And the guard that has the no nose that the dude chopped off earlier is watching over Amleth and all them. And when Anya Taylor-Joy walks by, he takes out like a loaf of bread that's in the stew, and he like starts munching on it and shit. And so she goes around feeding everybody. The next time we cut over to that dude with no nose, he is tripping so hard. Like, he's like feeling his face, and he's like looking at his hand and stuff. And he looks over to Amleth, and Amleth just real slowly starts to like smile and shit. It's this real evil looking grin he has coming up. And the dude starts freaking out and yelling. And it pans around, and we see that like not everybody in the camp, but whoever is eating is just freaking out. And there's one guy, like, you see him stabbing himself in the throat. Like, yeah, they're not having a good time.
I like to think there's like one guy in a tent somewhere who's like, fuck yeah! He like turns up the war drums, and he's just like, fuck it. What was that dance you did last time? The baton? Yeah,
that's him in the tent. Yeah,
they don't focus on him.
Yeah. They don't focus on that guy. He's just having a nice. He wakes up to
living his best life.
Yeah, he's like, what the fuck happened? He's like,
the next morning, he's like, let me get more of that soup.
Yeah, he's like, I heard seagulls. Everyone's freaking out. Amleth uses this distraction as his chance to sneak into where his mom's chambers are. So he sneaks in. He like looks around, and he finds like the ring from his dad or whatever. And he's like, "Oh, father," He picks it up and he's looking at it. And as he does that, he hears Nicole Kidman coming back, and he's like, "Oh shit!" So he sneaks around and he hides behind like this little. What is that thing even? It's not a window or a mirror. It was
It's like a room divider or something. I actually know. I think it was the loom that you used to like make thread.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, he hides behind a partition.
Yeah. So he hides behind that, and she starts to like take off pieces of her clothes.
Nice.
And at first, I thought she was, because the beginning when the kid runs in to get Nicole Kidman because the dad's coming back, there's like this real, because it's like as he comes in, she's like dropping down like her shift or whatever, and she's like, "Don't come in my room without permission" or whatever. So I thought like it was gonna recreate that or something. But before she can get like super naked, Amleth comes up behind her and puts his sword like on her shoulder and at her neck or whatever. And he makes her turn around, and she's like, "That's a big sword you have, And he's like, "Don't jest with me." And then he just comes and he's like, "I'm your son." He's like, and she's like, "Amleth, they told me you drowned." And he's like, "No, he's like, I'm still alive, I've lived a violent life and all this shit." And finally he's like, "I'm here to avenge my father, your husband, the king of, all this shit, and kill Führer and, all this stuff." And would you guess it, that she doesn't want that to happen. And she starts talking about how, Amleth is as simple-minded as his father. And she goes into, your father, didn't have an ounce of love for me, and he spent his days whoring and, doing all this shit. She's like, "I'm surprised he even loved you." And he's like, "Don't say that," And then she's like, "Do you still believe the fairy tale that, I was a queen from, And she pulls like down her shirt, and she has a slave marking. And she's like, "Your father forced himself upon me and all this shit and forced me to be his wife. And took her as a slave." And then she says that the uncle, loved her for who she was, and he's been unconditional to her. She got down on her knees and begged for him to kill, the Ethan Hawke. Also, I'm pretty sure it doesn't in this line. She says that she gave him permission to kill Amleth too.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, she's like, I gave him my blessing to kill you, and I was like, geez. Um, yeah, and so she was in on it all along, which, like I said from the beginning, I was like, yeah, I mean, that lady clearly is in on it. And then Amleth is like, well, I saw you being carried away. You were crying. And she's like, no, I was laughing, and all this stuff. So this is what I mean, where there's the one revenge story that we've been focusing on the whole. But at the same time, Nicole Kidman kind of has had her own revenge. So she's a slave that was taken from her, and raped. And, and she's had her own revenge story going on this whole time. She then, though, does start to get a little weird because she starts getting closer to him, and she's like, if you were to kill Führer and, the oldest son, and if you were to even think about killing, the youngest son, then that would make me your queen. And she, like, starts to make out with her son. And I was... What's up?
Pretty disgusting.
Yeah. I was like, okay. And he's like, he, like, pushes her off. And he runs out of the room, and immediately goes into the oldest brother's room and just starts stabbing him while he's sleeping. And the oldest brother gets killed.
Part of the movie I didn't like is that I thought that guy should have died in a better way.
Yeah.
Not that he deserved, like, glory, but he deserved more.
And it came
humiliating death. Like,
it came so abrupt too, where he just runs in and starts stabbing him on the. Yeah. There's a weird kind of death, but like I said, I could get behind the whole Nicole Kidman like has this revenge plot. Had the revenge plot against the guy who, like, took her into slavery, but then she's like going into where now she's trying to get Amleth to kill her new family so she can be, his queen. Also, obviously, she's like, this guy loves me. Meanwhile, he's been trying to bang Anya Taylor-Joy,
well, that's just normal with royalty, right? Like, that's what they did. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I get what you're saying, and you're like, this guy's a piece of shit. Look, he's trying to cheat on his old lady.
Yeah.
But they all did that.
Yeah, but, So anyway, he kills the brother. He runs out and he finds Anya Taylor-Joy, and he tells her that, I just killed this guy. They're going to be coming looking for me. You got to get out of here because, you won't be safe here. He's like, I'll meet back up with you or whatever. So, he sends her away. Or no, he doesn't. Oh, he runs away. That's what happened. Yeah, he leaves, and he's like, they'll follow me. You can't come with me, So the next morning, we see them bringing out the dead kid, like, on this stretcher, and the uncle just falls down on his knees at the son's side. And we see, and Amleth apparently cut out the son's heart and took it with him. Because the guy's like, he took his heart. What kind of fucking spirit? He's, like, so angry. And finally, Nicole Kidman, like, kneels down next to him, and she's like, I told you this was no spirit. This was my cursed son, Amleth, who's back. And he's like, it's impossible. He was supposed to have drowned and all this shit. And she's like, no, he's back. He's, he did all this, and obviously he had help. He didn't do all this by himself. So he has them kneel down the slaves in front of him, and he immediately slits the first guy's throat. And he's like, I have no idea if that guy helped at all. I don't have any idea if any of you helped at all, but I know that one of you must know something. So he's like, I'm going to start killing everybody until you tell me. So he's going down the line, like, cutting people's throats. And then finally he gets to Anya Taylor-Joy, and she doesn't even try to, like, fight it. She's just like, I don't remember what she said, but she starts laughing and shit. And he's like, I should have guessed it was you, you know? So he's about to kill her when Amleth yells from him on top of that hill that he's been on, you know, forever. And he's like, you know, if you spare her life, I'll give you back your son's heart. And he has like this bag hidden up, and he like puts it on his belt or whatever. And he comes running down, and it's daytime, so he can't pull out the sword. So he's just using it as like a blot and like hitting people with a blunt object.
I thought that was a good action sequence.
I thought that was a good action sequence. Yeah.
When you were like, "There's not much action," I was like, "There's some, and it's kind of in the right spots," you know.
Yeah.
But you're right. It wasn't like Gladiator where they're like fighting just nonstop.
Yeah. And so he's beating the shit out of all these guys that are coming at him until he can see that Anya Taylor-Joy is able to get away and run away, and then he kind of just gives into it and he gets beaten the fuck up. And
They would have just killed them all right then and there. It would have made the movie so much better.
Yeah, and when the uncle comes over and gets the bag, what did it end up being? It wasn't the heart. Was it just sand or something?
You didn't know. That's the thing.
Oh.
He goes, "How do you know that's your son's heart and not some
Not
rabbit
just
dog's
some
heart?"
Okay, yeah. And he's like, you know, I'll never tell you or whatever. So it immediately cuts to him being tied up in this barn and just getting the shit, like his face is all swollen and bruised, and he's just getting the shit kicked out of him. And you know, they're trying to find out where his son's heart is. Yeah, they're beating him up and shit, and eventually the uncle is like, I'll get it out of you one way or another. And they start to leave. As they're leaving, the last guard starts to pull out the sword that Amleth had when he was fighting them. And you don't know that that's the sword until he tries to pull it out, and he can't. And he's like, what the fuck? And he's trying to pull it out, and you're like, oh shit, that's sword. And then I do think it's kind of dumb because he takes it off his belt and just throws it into the corner of the barn. And it was like, well, you just gave this guy, you know, he couldn't get it out, but you know, so he tosses that over into the side, and then these ravens come and they land on the beam that he's tied on, and they peck him free, and he falls down, and they like, you know, get him to wake up and, you know, all this shit. Outside, they're doing a Viking funeral for the son. This is when I said, like, they have I don't think that's his wife. I think that's just a girl that has to travel with him in the afterlife or whatever.
It might have been.
Yeah, they never mentioned if he was married or not. But yeah, they're getting her ready. They give her like the drink and shit, and she's getting on the boat to go. They bring out like the horse that's gonna go out there, and or no, I thought they were gonna burn it, but they end up chopping the horse's head off and like taking its blood for shit and stuff. And they're doing this whole fucking, you know, ritual to send out the son. And then we cut over to Amleth, who is on Valkyrie's horse, and she rides off this cliff, and then she like it comes back up, and she starts to sail towards the moon, like he's almost going to Valhalla, but then he wakes up and he's like in this warm spring, and Anya Taylor-Joy is here, and apparently she has come back and rescued him from that barn and like took him to this place, and she gets him all cleaned up. You know, and she's like, I'm not finished with you yet, you know, and she gets in there and she's like cuddling up with him in this fucking spring. This is when I guess they're gonna make just a getaway, and they're just gonna leave, because this is her people, right? That come in this boat.
No, yes and no.
Because this is why I say the dad from The Witch is like the boat leader, and he comes picks them up on this boat.
Yeah, but it's Fjorn's people.
Okay.
But they're like, where's Fjorn? I thought he was bringing in Sun this time. But they were like, I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. Like I said, when I said that there's a part that drags on, this is it. After he like gets beaten up at that, when he's from the point where he's in the barn and when we're getting into it with him on the boat, and there's like this 15 minutes of just this kind of cool down that it was firing on all cylinders, where every night they were doing like this different plan, and then this 15 minutes I didn't like at all. And yeah, it made me feel, because this movie's like 220, and it made me start going, oh yeah, this movie's still going, you know. But they get on this boat. They're making a break for it. They're gonna get away, and Amleth, like, I don't remember if he kisses her or if he touches her or if she touches him or something. But either way, he sees the King of Trees again.
He kisses the cut on her neck.
Okay. And he sees the Tree of Kings again. And it pans up, and he sees that she is pregnant with two of his kids, you know. And in that moment, he's like, you know,
why do you say it like that? Most people would say twins, but you know.
Well, that's how he put it. He's like, you're gonna have two. He didn't say twins, you know. Also, they might not have been twins. I get, well, they're still twins, aren't they? But it's like, what's the word? They're twins where they're born at the same time, but they don't look alike.
Non-identical twins, normal twins.
I wouldn't say those are normal twins, though.
Fraternal twins.
Maybe. Like, normal twins look alike. Abnormal ones are different.
I mean, when you think twins, yes.
Yeah.
Like, there's another one just like you?
Yeah.
And when it's not, you gotta be like, oh, you're not identical twin. Oh.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and you're like, that's boring.
Yeah, get out of here.
Yeah.
You're not freak enough.
Yeah. So, anyway, yeah, so he's like, you know, I was a fool to think I could escape my destiny, and as long as Führer is alive, you know, you'll never be safe, our children will never be safe, all this shit.
Never mind, keep going.
Okay.
I thought you skipped a part, but it's coming up.
And so, you know, he's talking about the prophecy about, you know, you either can have love for your kin or, you know, hate for your enemies. And he's like, I choose both, you know? And so he gives the ring that his dad had to the boat captain. And he's like, that'll get you $9,000 fucking dollars or whatever the currency is. You know, it'll get them safe to wherever they're going. And then he fucking dives off the side of the boat, and he goes swimming. And Anya Taylor-Joy breaks out into this spell thing where she's talking about the winds of the north, you know, blow me and my passengers to safety, and yeah.
So, did yours have subtitles for this or something?
Yeah.
Mine didn't.
Oh, yeah, mine.
Mine just had the rants of this crazy lady.
Yeah, there's a lot of subtitles in this movie, Tyler. Hope you didn't miss all of them.
I missed everything she said. I missed.
Oh,
like
yeah.
When she gets on the boat and she talks to the guy or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're talking in their tongues or whatever. I didn't get any of that.
Yeah, no, I had subtitles.
Yeah, I had rambling. Now, ironically, I had subtitles, but it said incoherent rambling.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think I've told you how I watched the first 2 episodes of Game of Thrones with subtitles off. So every time the Dothraki were talking, I just thought that's how the show was. Like, you just had to pick up what they were.
Yeah.
But no. Yeah, no. It turned out they're supposed to have subtitles there, because it would be like a full 10-minute scene of them talking to Dothraki, and I'd be like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. But shout out to that. So Amleth gets back to the camp. He runs in, immediately starts killing people. He comes across the guy with the no nose, and he's like, oh, I took your nose when I was younger. And then he's like, now I want it all, or something like that.
I don't remember. It was just a great scene because he was like a ninja in the night.
Yeah.
He was just everywhere, killing everybody.
Yeah.
And the guy would just hear people screaming around him and stuff.
And he finishes it up with taking his sword and just sticking it straight through the guy's nose hole and killing the no-nose guy. So that's pretty cool.
Big man in my mind, but yeah.
Yeah. He runs into his mom's room, and he's looking around, but he can't see her. And then she jumps out of her wardrobe thing she has, and she has a sword, and she manages to get like 2 hits on him. One to like the stomach, I think, and another maybe to the leg. 2 slashes, and then finally he takes the sword and he stabs his mom through the chest, and he kills her. And then as she's dying, she says like "thank you" or whatever. So there's that. So he kills the mom, and then the youngest son, who I guess was watching it, jumps out. Yeah, and jumps onto Amleth's back and starts stabbing him with a dagger over and over. And Amleth is like yelling, and he tosses the kid off with the arm that his sword is in. And I'm pretty sure that he slashes the kid on accident.
Like non-intentional, but he fucking knows it.
Yeah, and he kills the kid. And you see the kid like slashed, laying on the ground. Which, if you think about it, I don't know if he set out, like I said, because it definitely looks like that's an accident, and he definitely has a face of like, as he killed him. But if you think about it, his whole point for coming here was so his children and everything could be safe. If that kid were to live, his kid, because it's a time, it just keeps going in loops. It's like the fucking Kill Bill with her killing the first chick and the daughter scene, and she's like, if you still feel raw about this, come see me, and supposedly if they ever make a third one, that's what it would be. But it would be like, yeah, that kid would come back for, revenge. So it's almost like, as much as he didn't want to do it, it's almost for the best that he killed that kid, which sounds bad to say.
Are you rationalizing the death of a child?
I think I am, Tyler.
Just making sure,
Yeah, I think, which I get that kid's pretty innocent, but I've been following Amleth the whole movie, so I don't care who he kills as long as he's all right, So yeah, he kills them, and then he looks over, and his uncle is standing in the doorway, and his uncle just comes in and like picks up his dead son and just grabs the wife by like her clothes, and he's like, "I'll meet you at the gates of hell." And Amleth is like, "At the gates of hell, you'll find me," He's like, "All right," and he turns and just drags like the dead wife and the son out of the room. Amleth then goes, and it's daytime now, and and I guess the gates of hell is just inside this volcano, which sure, all right, and he pulls up, and like, I'm guessing that the horse they were on broke its leg or something.
No.
Did he do more fucking blood horse spells?
So I missed this, but so when the son died and they cut the horse's head off and they had his horse juice to take his son to that. Yeah. That's what happened then too. Yeah. So like when they did that originally, that's when the old lady was stabbing the girl with the dagger a bunch too.
I still never saw that. But
yeah.
I believe you. I believe it happened.
Oh, you rented this, right? Well, I don't think you can buy it on physical.
You can buy it on digital. I looked up the Blu-ray because I was going to buy it. Doesn't come out till December 31st. Yeah, it was like, you can get this January 3rd, 2023. I was like, that's literally 7 months away. Why are they making it that long? Like, Jackass Forever came out fucking 2 months ago. I got the Blu-ray on the shelf right now. Like,
I was positive when this hits Blu-ray, it's gonna be like he's gonna blow up. But I just have Twitter up just to see what's going on, And I found a video of these 2 guys running from the police on the interstate.
Yeah.
And they're like going across, right?
Uh-huh.
And they go to jump this concrete barricade.
Yeah.
Well, one guy, it's like ground on the other side.
Uh-huh.
But they're on an overpass. So one dude just like dies.
Yeah.
Like it literally shows him jumping off to his death. And,
it
made me think of you, bud.
God, I can't remember the dude's name. There's a skateboarder who had the same, where he was like running from the police. I don't remember what he did to run from the police.
I retweeted it on Twitter, by the way. If you wanna
yeah, I'll definitely watch. I don't remember what he did, but he was running from the police, and the same thing where he was like on the bridge, and it had, it was, or no, he was like on the interstate, but it was like a bridge type interstate,
Yeah.
and it had the thing in between, and it was nighttime, so he thought he could just jump over it, but it ended up there was nothing there, and he just fell down, and landed like, kind of like the waterfront where there's like that in the waters out there. He landed like there next to the it was either he landed next to the water or he landed in the water like on the rocks on the side and just shattered everything. And he said that like these fishermen came and like picked him up, and like his legs were just, they thought they were gonna have to amputate it and all this shit, but he managed. His mom was like, no, you can't amputate his leg because he's a skateboarder. And she was like, don't do that. Try to save it, whatever you can. And dude's out skateboarding, so shout out to that dude. Anyway, he goes walking into the volcano, and we finally get the big climactic fight scene where this is what I told you, that I thought the dude had a fight with his dick out, but you never see some dick flopping in this scene, so that's a shame. But he's fighting his uncle, and they're in this volcano. Neither one of them showed that like their feet burn, and even though they weren't stepping on lava, I was like, it's gotta be hot as shit. Like, and yeah, so they're fighting. It's a really good fight scene, and eventually, Eric, I fucking call him Eric. Shout out True Blood. Eventually,
Don't call him Beowulf, but
Beowulf.
Beowulf. That was what they called him. The whole movie was Beowulf. Bjorn Fjord or whatever was Beowulf, and anyways,
this movie did. This movie
subtitled for me.
Yeah. This movie did remind me of Beowulf, kind of. In a weird way, I kind of want to see Robert Eggers do a Beowulf movie. Shout out.
I don't know how this reminds you of Beowulf. Okay.
There was something about it that reminded me of Beowulf. I don't know how.
Yeah, that's
but
just the same time period, I guess, maybe?
I don't know. There was something. God, there was something. I remember being like, oh, this is kind of like Beowulf. But I can't remember what the fuck it was. I don't know. But anyway, so eventually he gets both of his arms hacked on the side, where you can like see like the sides of them cut, like, and he can't. He's like drops his sword and shit, and he drops to his knees, and he's there, and the uncle is like holding the sword, kind of like how his dad was in the beginning. And then, according to Tyler, a tear falls down his cheek or whatever. That's that last tear.
No, he thinks of he has this weird vision of Anna Taylor and the two kids, and he's like, they've made it, they're safe.
Can I just say,
everything good.
I think I've said it before, but you have an amazing ability to say people's names and just get one thing wrong all the time. You never say Willem Dafoe, it's always William Dafoe. It's not Anya Taylor, it's Anna Taylor-Joy. What's the Robert Patterson you say? It's just
It's Robert Pattinson, right?
It's Pattinson.
Hey, it's not my name, Paul. They got bad names,
every movie we do, you have an acute ability to just get one thing wrong in the name.
You know what's crazy?
What's that?
People on TV, I have the hardest, or TV, movies, whatever, videos, online. Hardest fucking time to remember anyone's name.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the name of the guy who cleaned my store 13 years ago.
Yeah.
And it would recognize him in public, but, a guy whose movie I've watched 19 times, I'll be like, Frank something?
Yeah.
So, I don't know, it's weird. But.
Yeah.
But yeah, he has the vision of the lady with their kids, and he's like, they made it, blah, blah. And that's when the tear falls, and that's when he gets back up.
Yeah, he gets back up, has his last burst of energy, and then finally they do this really cool shot, because it's on the side where the uncle goes and stabs, but at the same time...
No, he swings from the right, and then the main guy swings from the left, or from his right, So it's like two arcs coming at each other. Because the main guy, the bad guy, you don't know if he's connected.
That's the thing. Yeah, the way
Yeah.
they film it, there's that moment of like, did he stab him? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he cuts off
Spoiler.
the uncle's head, and and you see the uncle's head fall down. That's when I say like, there kind of is that call because like it took the uncle 3 shots to get the dad's head off, but dude only needs
Well, he
the
didn't
one.
have the
He didn't.
Smorgasbord
Yeah, he didn't have
from
cheat
the fires
codes.
of. Yeah, he
No,
didn't have yeah, I don't remember how you did it,
yeah.
but I was like,
yeah, and he's like has the sword and his head falls off, and you're looking and you're like, I'm not sure, but then he falls and his hand and the sword is still in him, and so Amleth is also stabbed. He falls down. I think this is actually because unless he sees him again, but he sees Anya Taylor-Joy and his kids sitting here this time, and she says that you can make your journey now, and and I think she's like, we'll see you or we'll meet with you, one day or whatever. And then we get a final shot of Valkyrie and him on the horse, and she's flying up into like, it's not even the moon anymore. It's like this big
hole in the cosmos.
Yeah. And there's a Radiohead album called A Moon-Shaped Pool, and that kind of seems. There's a moon-shaped pool looking thing up there.
What a fucking dumb title. It's just circle. A round pool? All pools are round. Right? What are you talking about? Well, no, I guess there's a lot of rectangles, but...
Listen.
Get out of here. Tom York? Is that his name?
I went for the fucking... I can't remember everything. What does he say? Everything in its right place? But what's he saying there?
Yeah.
We used to sing it all the time. How are we blanking out right now?
Me too, because it's not everything in its right place. It's I don't know. It's gonna bug me.
Anyway, yeah, they ride into Valhalla, and that is the end of the movie. So
it is everything.
Oh, yesterday I woke up sucking on a lemon. That's what he says.
But
dumb song.
great movie.
It's great movie. Like I said, there's that little 15-minute portion that I think could have did without. But it was pretty solid. Seeing if I have anything written down. I don't think I have any facts for this one. Yeah. Let's do best of worst of, Tyler. For
so hard. There was so much good stuff. I know what my worst stuff is, though.
My best of is gonna be Ethan Hawke's monologue before he gets his head chopped off. I really liked it. Thought it was the best part of the movie.
You're giving credit to Ethan Hawke, and I think he was just reading lines he was given.
Well, you can read fucking lines. All these motherfuckers are reading lines that they're given. What do you mean?
But it's like I feel like you're giving all the credit to him, and a lot of the credit should go towards the writer or whatever.
I mean, you could say the same thing. Well, Willem Dafoe in The Lighthouse with his monologue. It's like, well, I guess.
Well, no, because anyone else giving that
same.
Would be completely...
It's the same fucking thing.
It's the inflection and everything else. Like nothing Ethan Hawke does there is great.
Yeah, he's screaming and he's it. Fuck you. Anyway,
I'm just saying.
I think you're hating for no reason.
No, I think a million other people would have done that better though.
Yeah, maybe, but in this moment, I think that was the best part of the movie.
Oh man, I just thought of another movie for my list and I didn't put it on there. Oh, I
don't know.
Anyways,
worst part, that fucking when they're in the springs and everything. I didn't like it. Drag the movie along.
What do you mean when they're in the springs? When he's in the pool, or
yeah, when they're in the whole after he gets taken captive and like the ravens cut him down, up until he comes back and starts fighting. I didn't like it. It just I was like, all right, let's let's get back to it.
It's the pacing of this movie. It started with all the action, and then they kind of just gave you little tidbits,
Yeah.
and then you had the
But
final battle.
anyway, that's my best of worst of. Tyler, what's your best of worst of?
All right, I'll start with my worst of. My worst of is every time Nicole Kidman touched a sword. It just wasn't believable.
Yeah.
There was a time when the dog
when she
attacked.
picks up that sword with the dog. And she,
Yeah, and I'm like, no,
Yeah.
just stop. Again, I think Nicole Kidman was the worst part of this movie. I think she had no place in it. I think you could have gotten a billion other people who would have done it better. I've never liked her. I thought she was horrible in Batman, like the original.
Well, I mean,
everything
that
she's
movie's
in.
not very good anyway.
Like she was in Days of Thunder as like the doctor or whatever. Like she was horrible.
Dr.
Like
Thunder.
no. But yeah, every time she touched a sword or spoke or whatever, I thought she was just
Every time it went from just her holding the sword to every time she touched a sword or talked.
Well, think about when you have the reveal that she hated his father, and all that stuff. Even then, it seemed like it was just meh. Like, there's a lot of female actresses out there right now who are fucking killing it, and the fact they got her for I don't know what reason, it
And this
bugged me.
bitch wasn't even in the first Batman movie.
It was a lady from the first Batman movie with Michael Keaton.
Oh no, she was in Batman Forever.
Maybe that was that other girl. Kim Basinger is who I'm thinking of.
Are you talking about Catwoman from the?
No, that was Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah, I always think that Catwoman is in that first movie, but she's not. She's in the second one, DeVito.
But she's just bad. I don't like her. I think she's just. Anyways, I think Nicole Kidman's in Moulin Rouge. I think that's what really made me hate her. But I might be wrong again. Anyways,
Never saw it.
there's a lot of amazing actresses right now who could have been in that and just weren't. Like, and I think that's a problem with Hollywood in general, is that they go for names to bring in people, right? And not talent. Like, I don't know. I think Ewan McGregor would have been better than Ethan Hawke. Right? There would have been there's just so many people who would have been better, you know, in those roles. That being said, Anna Taylor was good, and
Fuck
everyone
off.
else was great. You know, anyways, I did not like her in this movie. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Just simplify
After all that, I didn't like her.
I loved all the visual aspects of this, like when they were going through the witchcraft and stuff and everything crazy. I think William Dafoe stole the show. That
Slap
sports
his
game
dick.
they played, I thought was kind of boring.
I didn't like that. Yeah.
But I mean, I understood why.
Yeah,
it was there.
like at the end when he gets in the and saves the kid. I was like, okay, but yeah, that whole scene, I was like, all right, let's get on.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
My favorite scene, and this is gonna be weird, and I don't know how to phrase it, and I'm gonna cheat and not pick one scene. But it was the musical aspects of this movie.
I will say, and it's been, I don't remember The Witch, all that crap, but I remember The Lighthouse. It was weird watching the Robert Eggers movie where there was music playing the whole time. Because if I remember, there's no music in The Lighthouse, except for the shanties they would sing at night sometimes. And I don't remember if they have any in The Witch. But this movie, yeah, it had like soundtracks and stuff, and it was weird with since it was
Well, if
his
you think
movie.
about it, so in the beginning there was no like music, whatever. But then he groups up with those weird people that find him out adrift,
Uh-huh.
and they have that cool bonfire scene,
Yeah.
and they're all like singing and chanting and whatever, and you're like, this is really weird, and you're like, the fuck's going on? And it like the singing and chanting and stuff really sets the whole mood,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, it's pretty badass. And then you have the Wild Witch Party,
Yeah.
which starts off the same way. It's that girl singing and that guy, and they're talking about fucking,
Uh-huh.
and everything's going crazy. and then you have like the death of the son before the boat, and that lady just starts singing randomly,
Yeah.
and you're like, what the fuck, is this a musical?
Yeah.
But like you never feel like you're watching a musical. Like it just ties in so well, and you're like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put the music, but not like just ambient music, like the actual
Yeah.
music. That's
I don't
lyric.
remember I think I might have did that, but I think I did it with The Wicker Man when we watched it. I think I might have said the songs.
Well, no, that's just because
That's
that
a
one song about Lily or whatever. Remember
that
in the
was one of
bar?
yeah, that was probably
No,
my
Lucky
least
William.
favorite.
Lucky
What?
William, is that it?
Are you talking about Gentle Johnny?
Gentle Johnny. There
I
you
didn't even
go.
have Gentle Johnny in my
In
yeah.
yours, yeah. Yeah,
And then I looked it up later, and I was like, man, this song is cool as shit. Yeah. Gentle, gentle Johnny, or whatever.
and from that day forward, we made sure we watched the same version of movies going
Yeah.
on.
I couldn't believe, yeah, I was like, oh yeah, guys, in the extended version, there's this and this. And you guys were like, well, wait, we had that. And I went, what?
You were so mad. You're like,
Yeah.
how? What? I didn't watch. What?
Yeah.
And I was like, thanks. But yeah, this movie is so good. Like, we're doing our review and we do a pretty good thing, whatever. But I feel like movies of this caliber, we don't even like scratch the surface. That's
Mm,
why when I say this is one of those movies that you have to tell people, not have to watch, but you're like, you have to watch this movie. I could tell you about it all day long, but until you watch it, it's not.
yeah.
And the trailer is misleading because they make you seem like it's Gladiator, Braveheart,
They
like
do.
this like action, and it's not. It's all about like trials and this guy's revenge and
Yeah.
everything else.
Yeah.
So, but I'm sure people won't like it, and they'll talk shit because that's
Yeah.
what people do.
Yeah, it's weird. I find Robert Edgers, so to me, the two, like, modern, like, well, I guess there's three kind of, but the two to modern kings of horror right now directors that seems is Eggers and then that Ari Aster, I think is his name. That's the guy who did Hereditary and Midsummer and all that shit. And for some reason, people compare those two a lot. And I guess I could see that or whatever. But to me, Robert Edgers is like in the shadow to because everyone loved Hereditary and then everyone really loved Midsummer for some reason. Obviously, I've stated my opinions about that movie, but to me, The Witch and the Lighthouse are two movies that people people are very split on, and so he's kind of he's not looked at as highly as some other people, and the reason I said is because then I was like, well, I guess there's Jordan Peele, who it's real weird how Jordan Peele went from being all he did was comedy to now he's like known as a horror director. Um,
Well, that's the thing. Like, the opposite of love is hate, right? So, what's the opposite of laughter? Fear. So you have to know both sides of that coin.
I guess yeah. Well, also it's because they stopped that show and then they made that movie Keanu about the fucking cat or whatever,
Yeah,
and then he went straight into making like Get Out and shit. When did that? Feels like it's been a while since that Us movie came out. Feels like that movie's old as shit nowadays. Only 2019, so 3 years.
there's
That
new ones coming out. I keep seeing commercials for it.
yeah, Nope. July 22nd.
I noticed you didn't talk about Panos Cosmatos and your directors.
Yeah. Um,
He's only made two movies
you know,
though, and one you hated, or you probably hated. Might have hated
and
both.
the other one, I'm kind of just on, so.
You son of a bitch.
But yeah, to me, Ari Aster and Robert Edgers are at least more in like the mainstream. I think people definitely know Mandy. But
The people that watch this know it.
yeah,
Majority of people maybe not.
but I bet you I mean, no one's saying you ever heard of Over the Black Rainbow, But
I'm trying to look at Ari Aster's like credits.
he's only done two. He's only done I think he's only done Midsummer and Hereditary.
Yeah, well, he has a bunch of shorts, and then a new movie called Disappointment Boulevard, which is in post production. I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing who was going to be in that. Oh, well, the Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix and Richard Kind is going to be in it, which Richard Kind is plays Larry David's brother in Curb Your Enthusiasm. So that's cool. He's also in a bunch of other shit, but that's what I know him as. Oh, what's this one? Oh, this is a short. Yeah. Anyway. All right. Well, The Northman, we watched it. It's pretty amazing. What do you say, Tyler? What's your Robert Edgers ranking for his movies?
Um, I mean, this has got to be the best one, right? But then Lighthouse is high up there. So I don't know. Those two are.
Yeah, for me, The Witch is at the bottom, and then I would. This movie is just barely squeaking ahead of The Lighthouse for me. Now, whenever I rewatch it, that might change, because like I said, every time I've watched The Lighthouse, I've liked it more. So, if this movie goes the opposite, then but. But anyway, thanks for watching, listening, all that shit. Link to the gaming channel, the wrestling channel, is going to be in the description.
Oh man, we haven't done much of that in a while.
No. I'm not sure when this is going to come out. So, if I had to guess, I would say it's probably going to come out next Monday. So, Suspiria should be out by now. Came out Friday. Go check out our Suspiria episode. I gotta watch that movie still right now. So, there's that. And then, by this time, maybe also the 2-year anniversary video will be out. So, where we talk about our top 10 horror movies. I'm not sure, though. That might be coming out soon when this comes out. But, yeah, so we got some stuff coming out. So keep a lookout. But anyway, thanks for joining. Hey, a little inside scoop. Me and Tyler are about to film the 2-year anniversary right after this.
A brief break to piss and grab
some food. Yeah, I'm gonna take like a poopy maybe.
Again?
And
what is wrong with you?
I don't know, man. My butthole leak. Get some water. I might get like a little Swiss roll, a little snack. But yeah. Anyway.
Sure you want a Swiss roll and would rather have a cream pie?
Anyway. All right. Thanks for watching. See you guys in whatever the next video is. Yeah. Bye.
See you guys.